I had the heat turned up quite a bit at my own distraction. So I could have, and I evolved, and even Greg, you just mentioned Greg Gilbert. He said, Mike, you're completely different here in New York than you were in Chicago. So you learn from your own mistakes. And for some reason, I was so driven. I took it personally if we lost. Personally. And I was miserable. And I could have probably managed the principles of my coaching career and what I thought was important, that I would always stay intact with those. But the methodology could have been turned down a bit and probably
a little bit smoother.
A
little too intense?
At times, yeah. For sure.
Now, big names, Scotty Bowman, Roger Nielsen, Tom Watt. I mean, I don't know, mentors, friends. How did they all influence Mike Keenan?
Well, first of all, I played for Tom at University of Toronto, and then we developed a close relationship, and I would talk to him a lot about coaching. Now I'm in Peterborough. He'd come and see me, and we developed sort of a minor league team for him, because the guys that couldn't play for U of T right away, like Mike Polino, come out to play with me in Oshawa. And so we developed a relationship that way. But we talked a lot about hockey. He taught me more about hockey than anybody else. And then Roger and I had a relationship through Peterborough. We're getting now into the sort of the technical part of video replay and how that got. And then I got Scotty Bowman, the greatest ever. He hires me for the first time, probably saw a little bit of himself in me. And he's calling me in the middle of the night after every game. He drives home from Rochester, and at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm not exaggerating, sometimes an hour conversation in the middle of the night. Why did you put Bob Mongrain on the penalty killing at that time? Like, okay, Scotty. But he was just, and he would test me all the time, and I just give him a firm belief in what I thought was right, and he respected that. So it was interesting and then we became friends over the years. It was a real 3 guys that really influenced my career.
That was Iron Mike Keenan, former NHL head coach and author of Iron Mike, My Life Behind the Bench. He was in conversation with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for The Morning Skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. That's SiriusXM Channel 91.
SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is the place for expert advice, strategy, and information from the best fantasy sports analysis to win your league. Plus, hear pick-by-pick coverage of live drafts and interviews with top players, coaches, and team executives on SiriusXM 87.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 30th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Montreal Canadiens. Capitals on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 950, Canadiens on Internet 934. 7:30 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Florida Panthers. Lightning on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 945. Panthers on Internet 931. 9:30 p.m., Winnipeg Jets face the St. Louis Blues. Jets on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 951. Blues on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 944. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 30th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Montreal Canadiens. Capitals on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 950, Canadiens on Internet 934. 7:30 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Florida Panthers. Lightning on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 945. Panthers on Internet 931. 9:30 p.m., Winnipeg Jets face the St. Louis Blues. Jets on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 951. Blues on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 944. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 30th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Montreal Canadiens. Capitals on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 950, Canadiens on Internet 934. 7:30 p.m. Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Florida Panthers. Lightning on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 945. Panthers on Internet 931.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
Former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan came on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, and he was asked about the long Alexei Kovalev shift during his time in New York, and he shared his side of the story about the skilled offensive talent that was Kovalev.
The Alexei Kovalev shift. I've heard 7 minutes, I've heard 9 minutes. Hey, you stay out there, you kind of figure it out. Describe to us what went into that. How long was a shift? Certainly Kovalev was a talent, that's for sure, but he was a bit of an enigma.
Super talent.
Yes.
And talented people sometimes are elusive. And Alex, I try to explain to him, you're getting 20 minutes, and I don't want the shifts to be 1 minute, so you have 20 shifts. I'm going to give you 40 shifts at 30 seconds so you can build the intensity up. Understand? Yeah, I understand, Mike. Goes out there. Of course, it's a minute and a half. I said, now, Alex, the guy that's supposed to be playing behind you just missed his shift because now we're going to the next rotation. You're out there for 2 rotations. Okay, Michael. So, again, next thing, does it again. So I said, oh, my God. So I said, okay, guys, this time when he comes back to the bench, he's now going to overextend his shift. He's going to be a little tired. Don't open the doors. He comes over and I said, get out. He thinks I love him now. Get back out there, I said. So then he comes over again. And now I said, guys, he's going to want to climb into the bench because he's done. I said, when he comes over, puts his leg up, push him back out. And they pushed him. But now they are laughing on the bench. This is in New York City. Right during the game, back there. So Alex figures it out. He scores a goal in the middle of this shift.
Wow.
He gets himself a rest. Stays out there. Finishes the period. So I think it's about 9 minutes. I walk off the bench and said, Mess, explain it to him, will you, please? He said, I will. Don't worry. I'll look after it. So as a result, we fast forward now to the playoffs in Game 6, playing New Jersey. In the Jersey series, I double shifted him. When he had to come back, and he was electrifying. Mess got the 3 goals, but Alex was a horse. And it's very talented, powerful. And the problem was he was so efficient that he could stay out, but he didn't grasp the concept of just picking up the intensity. You could see him. He could dangle and hang onto the puck, and nobody could take it from him. He was resting while he was out there. So
in essence, it was a bit of a training ground for what was to come against the Devils at the most important time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it turned out to be a good lesson for him because that's what he did in that game. 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I just said, Alex, I'm going to double shift you. Get ready. Don't be out too long.
That was former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan in conversation with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin for the morning skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. That's SiriusXM Channel 91.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, SiriusXM 86, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 30th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Montreal Canadiens. Capitals on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 950, Canadiens on Internet 934. 7:30 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Florida Panthers. Lightning on Sirius 211 XM 219 and Internet 945. Panthers on Internet 931. 9:30 p.m., Winnipeg Jets face the St. Louis Blues. Jets on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 951. Blues on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 944.
For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 30th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates.
In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Montreal Canadiens. Capitals on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 950, Canadiens on Internet 934. 7:30 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Florida Panthers. Lightning on Sirius 211 XM 219 and Internet 945. Panthers on Internet 931. 9:30 p.m., Winnipeg Jets face the St. Louis Blues. Jets on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 951. Blues on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 944.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, April the 30th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates.
In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Montreal Canadiens. Capitals on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 950, Canadiens on Internet 934. 7:30 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Florida Panthers. Lightning on Sirius 211 XM 219 and Internet 945. Panthers on Internet 931.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. Sirius XM, Channel 89.
Former Buffalo Sabres head coach Don Granato was on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91, to talk about how different today's athletes are, as well as what it's been like to watch Austin Matthews grow.
It's really a switch in the last 10 years. The first birth year I had at the national team program was 95 birth year. So it was JT Compher, Tyler Mott, that group. You have them for 2 years, so the next birth year coming in was the 97s, which was prolific. It was Austin Matthews and Matthew Tkachuk and McAvoy and Hanifin and Werenski. And I remember talking to the coaches back then that this birth year is way different than the 95 birth year. And this summer, ironically, I picked up a book that titled The Anxious Generation. And I thought it was very well documented, and the author used the iPhone. And the iPhone came out in 2008 or 6, somewhere in that range. But social media didn't hit hard on the iPhone, where you could rate a kid's looks if you're a high school student. And so judging other people on a social media app on the iPhone was about 2013. And so now you think about all these kids going to high school, and we never had this. They can be made fun of on social media. They don't even know it, and they're walking out of a classroom and people are laughing. Yeah. So it's a different world we all live in, because we're all criticized and compared to more and faster. And with that, you need to balance that with support. And I think, lots of coaches that have gone that I watch around the league in the NHL, there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of good young coaches that are really good at that. The X's and O's, I say to people, are easy now. When the X's and O's are a very simple part of hockey. It's connecting with people and getting people motivated and excited. And that's changed dramatically. X's and O's became big when video hit the computer. You could watch 100 or 1,000 forechecks over and over and over and say, okay, these are the key components on a forecheck. And so, you didn't have to be in the NHL to become better at that. So that's the easy part. I just can't imagine doing this or that I did it. I called Brian Matthews one time in Austin's U17 year. And I said, Brian, do you have any idea how good your son is? And his reply was no. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you, what is this conversation? And I had to explain to him, and I said, I think this is what's going to happen, Austin. I said, you honestly have to prepare for your life to become very chaotic and crazy. And lo and behold, he gets drafted in Toronto instead of some different market. And we know how crazy it can be here.
Oh yeah.
But and then the last thing I'll say on it is I remember leading up to the draft, lots of people said, can he handle Toronto? And I thought, absolutely, no problem. And the biggest thing for me is when a young player comes in the league, and we talked about it earlier, if they're a -2 or 3 and they have a really tough night, you get to know how they're going to respond. And some that breaks their confidence, and maybe they need a stint in the AHL. You got to get them out of the pressure. But Austin was so good that if that happened, and when it's happened in his career, it doesn't hurt his confidence. He knows that he's in that category of player that I know I can redeem myself just get me to the next game now. And they can do, the best players can do that. And that's a different echelon of player at the NHL level that can do that. So if you look at the top players in the NHL, their confidence is not going to break. The guys right under that, they have a bad night. They may not want that next game.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio. SiriusXM 86.
I'm Frank Track.
From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite pho shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Export, Ultra, XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Bell Pure Fiber is the technology you need for high-performance applications. It leverages light signals transmitted through optical fiber. It's capable of providing huge bandwidth, super low latency, and it's immune to electromagnetic interference.
Basically what he means is, it's incredibly fast internet. Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $70 per month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another postseason edition of Habs Hockey on TSN 690. It is Game 5 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals tonight from Capital One Arena as the series returns to Washington, D.C., and the Montreal Canadiens in need of a win tonight to prolong this best-of-7 Eastern Conference quarterfinal. Victor Finlay with J.P. O'Connor on this Wednesday evening. Ready and set for this game, JP. There was 2 days between games 4 and 5 as the series goes back down south of the border. A lot of speculation over the last couple days in particular. I was at Habs practice the other day. A couple players were out on maintenance day. There was no Sam Montembeault. He has not made the trip here to Washington. But there was no Alex Carrier at practice yesterday either. But he will play tonight for the Montreal Canadiens after suffering that pretty vicious hit, to say the least, from Tom Wilson in Game 4.
Well, which one? Is it Tom Wilson's hit or is it Alex Ovechkin's hit? Because you remember that Ovechkin took a huge run on him as well. Ovechkin almost falls into the Canadiens bench, but clearly gets a piece of Carrier's left leg, and he came up a little bit lame there. But no question, the hit that did the most damage, Victor, was the one that Tom Wilson, as he meets Carrier at the red line and dumps him. Carrier gets to his feet. No question, a little wobbly heading back to the bench. Count me as one of the guys who is stunned to see Carrier back in the lineup tonight. Listen, it's not the first time that a play has looked worse than its result, but I was really surprised when we heard the news that Carrier was going to be able to suit up.
Yeah, you're not alone in that feeling, JP. Yeah. There was a lot of us, I think myself included, here tonight, to the surprise of many, to see Carrier back on the ice in warm-up and taking what looks here to be a regular spot in the lineup tonight, as Jaden Struble is listed as a scratch. No other lineup changes for the Montreal Canadiens, as Patrick Laine remains on the shelf. But we do have another change on the Washington side, and it could very well change the balance of this game, JP.
Well, this is going to be Protas who comes back in for Washington, and he's a giant man out on the ice at 6'6" and 240-plus pounds. But the key for the Caps and Protas this year is he's just had a breakout season. He's got 66 points on the year on 30 goals. And what I think is most important for a young player like that, he comes in with a plus 40 rating, and plus minus is one of those stats that you can look at, you can like, you can interpret it, but when it's either really, really bad or it's great, it definitely jumps off the page, and that's what it does for me with Protas as he comes back in. He's not going to be starting on the first line where we're used to seeing him playing alongside Alex Ovechkin and Strome, who have had strong starts this series. He'll start on the fourth line with Nick Dowd and Brandon Duhaime, but I think that we will soon see him moving his way back up into his normal spot.
And Taylor Radish is out tonight for the Washington Capitals, as this will be Protas's first game since suffering a cut on his foot back on April 4th against the Chicago Blackhawks. Scary injury, not always the easiest to recover from as well.
It really is dreadful. I've had one myself where I took a skate just behind the tongue of the boot, and it really is debilitating. But I think what you see with Washington and the way that they've managed to take control of this series 3-1 now is it's given them the luxury of time. They haven't had to rush Protas back into the lineup. They can get him in now as he feels comfortable coming back in Game 5.
So we'll see how that changes things tonight for the Washington Capitals, who are trying to close out this series tonight. You might remember when 15 years ago, 2010, it was a 3-1 series lead for the Washington Capitals going back home to what was then Verizon Center for Game 5, and that triggered one of the most improbable comebacks in playoff history for the Montreal Canadiens, recovering from down 3-1 to win that series largely on the back of their goaltender, Yaroslav Halak. Let's get out to Capital One Arena now for pregame ceremonies and the Canadian and American national anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Washington Capitals and RTX are proud to welcome Technical Sergeant Brandon Whitley from the United States Air Force. To Technical Sergeant Brandon Whitley and to all of the men and women serving in our armed forces who are in attendance tonight, we thank you for your service. And now, to perform tonight's national anthems, please welcome Bob McDonald.
Ô Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front est saint de fleurons glorieux, car ton bras sait porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Game 5 already and set to go tonight from Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. as we get you introduced to the starting netminders. Beginning with Logan Thompson back in between the pipes for the Washington Capitals. 4 games in the postseason with a .254 goals against average, a .912 save percentage. 4th best in the first round of this year's Stanley Cup playoffs. And Jakub Dobeš will go again for Montreal after making 21 saves on 24 shots sent his way by the Washington Capitals in that 5-2 Game 4 loss. Wow, JP, here we are, midweek. Tilt between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. This time next week, we'll know for sure this series will be over and we'll be on to round 2. Will that involve the Montreal Canadiens? Will there be a tomorrow for the Montreal Canadiens? We'll find out tonight.
Well, tons of emotion out in the ice right now. You can see everybody getting revved up. And if you're the Montreal Canadiens right now, you have to play desperate, but you have to be organized. You got to be controlled out there, and you've got to be able to weather the first period, probably the first 10 minutes, where Washington's going to look to get a kill shot in.
And Washington will start with their 4th line, which features Alexei Protas in for his Stanley Cup playoff season debut this year. As the Capitals start the face-off with its center. Into the Montreal zone they go. Brandon Duhaime chased by Jake Evans, who's on the ice with Ivan Demidov and Alex Newhook, Gooley, and Hudson, the blue liners. Capitals working in behind the Montreal net. Protas ties up Lane Hudson. Puck comes over for Ivan Demidov. 2 assists. And that 5-2 loss for Montreal in Game 4. He's the first Habs teenager to record a playoff point since Alex Galchenyuk back in 2013. As the Capitals working around in their own zone, here's Rasmus Sandin up the left side to center, shoots it in. Off the glass, takes a funny bounce. Settled down behind the net by Connor McMichael. To the far side, hands it off. There's a shot incoming. That's stopped off the stick of Pierre-Luc Dubois. Here go the Habs the other way. This is chopped away from Suzuki. Out to center. Pierre-Luc Dubois with it. Plays it ahead for Connor McMichael. Into the near corner. McMichael throws that back out to the line. Long shot coming in. Turned aside by Jakub Dobeš.
Oh, looking for Tom Wilson, who was going hard to the net.
Now Slavkovsky brings it into the Washington zone. Right back out to center it goes. Bouncing away from McMichael. Suzuki feeds it up the near side. Slavkovsky cross ice. Taken at center by Anthony Beauvillier. Onto the ice for the first time tonight. Both he and Dylan Strome have points in all 4 games. As here goes Ovechkin dancing in on the near side. Little backhander hit the outside of the net. Now 100 seconds into this game. Montreal chip it out through center. Here goes Josh Anderson as he flattens Alexander Alexiev deep in the Washington zone. But the Capitals will flip it back out to center as Keenan Gooley settles the puck.
Alexiev
Hudson goes in behind his own net.
Yeah, Alexiev looked uncomfortable. He's still wearing that full face protection as he took a stick in the face, and it looked to me like, again, he gets bumped in the face.
Lane Hudson feeds it up the far side. Gooley over the line. Here's Kapanen up the middle. Great chance on Thompson. First save of the game made by the Washington netminder is covered up for the whistle.
Now, here's what you like to see with Kapanen is he gets that shot off on net, and immediately afterwards you see Heineman coming in like a freight train and hits the brakes enough, gets a little bit of snow spray up on Logan Thompson just to let him know that he's there, that there's never going to be an opportunity this evening, that the Canadiens are not going to be going hard to the net. And I did want to come back, Victor. I did want to take a look at that play that Ovechkin just made. It's your roles reversed there. Normally it's Hudson who's dancing around guys. There's Ovechkin at 250 sliding around Hudson.
39 years old as well on top of that. As the Capitals back in their own zone, they'll push it ahead to center. Ryan Leonard out there with Lars Eller and Andrew Mangiapane. Down the left side, he skips it into the far corner. Leonard picks it up. Pressured by Oliver Kapanen. He strips that away. Over to Yoel Armia. Now down the far side. Here goes Emil Heineman. Skates deep into Capital territory. Matt Roy takes it away. And the Capitals move it out through center. 2:45 into the first. Tied at 0. Shots are 1 apiece. Now Arbor Jack-Guy sets up behind his own net. His first road playoff game in the National Hockey League for Jack-Guy tonight. As here goes Josh Anderson back in behind Logan Thompson. Skates around to the near side. Carrier pinching in. Protas with it. Plays it out through center. Might be a chance. Up the middle. Trevor Van Riemsdyk blows it wide of the net on a partial break. He one-timed that puck, and it comes out to center.
Boy, did he ever lean into that. Wasn't taking any chances. Was just going to blow it past Ovechkin, but doesn't get it on net.
Just one goal on the season for Trevor Van Riemsdyk. As the Capitals back in their own zone. Far side wing. Here is Alex Newhook. Pulls it down low. There's Chychrun. He'll play that around for Connor McMichael, who will lift it out to center ice. And it lands at the feet of Ovechkin. It's taken away by Gooley. And the Canadiens throw it in from center ice. Carlson first to it for Washington. Plays it up the far side. 4 minutes into the first period. And we get a whistle here for a hand pass.
Yeah, it's going to be a hand pass coming back outside of Washington's zone. But you see the Habs early, and listen, last game in Montreal with the Caps did a great job. Their sticks in particular, they were in great position, and it's some of those fundamentals, some of those little habits that they have that allow them to feel positive about their game and anchor, how they play. And I think Spencer Carberry will be mentioning it to his players tonight that they have to play the exact same way this evening.
Neutral zone face-off for Montreal. This is rattled in off the boards. Comes around for Chychrun. And now chased up the middle. Slavkovsky's out there with Caulfield and Evans. As the Capitals roll it down the ice. This is going to go for icing.
Well, this is where Carberry will have the opportunity tonight to get lines out that he feels are the best matches, as he's going to take advantage of that last change. And I would fully expect Victor to see Pierre-Luc Dubois and Tom Wilson, McMichael show why they very much are among the best second lines in all of the NHL this evening.
3 goals in this series so far for McMichael as the Canadiens win the ozone faceoff. Hudson from the line. His shot goes off a stick and out of play. 1 goal, 2 assists for Tom Wilson. We saw that empty netter goal for Wilson to make it 5-2 in Game 4. And then Pierre-Luc Dubois with just 1 point, 1 assist through 4 games thus far.
Yeah, he has been a little bit quiet, but I do think that you can see the value of Dubois down the middle. And I think when you look at Carberry, there's been a little bit more rope afforded to Pierre-Luc Dubois this season. And I think he's given him some time to kind of get himself out of funks.
Habs behind the Washington net, centering feed for Suzuki. Shot on the mark. Thompson makes the save and covers up in the blue paint. Washington had that right behind their own net, and a sloppy turnover gives Montreal a great chance.
Well, it's good stick positioning early on by Slavkovsky, and Slavkovsky manages to control that puck, and he finds Suzuki, who slides out into a quiet area, and Dubois just can't close in time on Suzuki. His body's there, but his stick is loose, and Suzuki actually gets a pretty solid shot on net on Logan Thompson from close range.
First line for Montreal stays out there. Pierre-Luc Dubois can't win the faceoff back. It goes right to Hudson. They'll pass it down low. Comes over to Tom Wilson. And now the Capitals skate ahead to center ice. Here's Chychrun up in the rush as McMichael's knocked over. That diffuses the opportunity as the Canadiens play it back into the Capital zone. 15-10 to go in the first. Tied at 0. Capitals near side in their own zone. Pierre-Luc Dubois up the center. Stolen away by Kapanen. Now Mike Matheson handles it back at his own end. Back there with Alex Carrier. As Matheson works it ahead to center. This is chipped in by Emil Heineman. Bit of a bouncer there for Logan Thompson, who covers up. Those are not always the easiest to get a handle on, but Thompson had no issues there.
No, he had no issues, but a good look there at Heineman, who gets a bit of a giggle as he gets rocked back on his heels by Roy. Falls close to Logan Thompson and looked like a bit of a debutante skater out there for a moment. Everybody always gets a giggle at that. Doesn't matter how important the game. Everybody can always laugh at themselves.
Looking for Emil Heineman to get a little bit better as this series goes on, JP. As this faceoff is won by Montreal. Here's a long-range shot that goes off the body in front. Just 2 shots for Emil Heineman through 4 games so far. in the postseason.
Heineman shoots the puck so well that every time he lets it go, it creates a rebound. He should be bombing it every time he gets it.
Here come the Capitals. Dylan Strome passing far side. There's a shot for Rasmus Sandin. That's redirected out of play off a stick.
What a slick play for the Capitals as the second wave. Sandin slides in, comes in a little bit late, and he gets a good shot on net that Dobesh is able to steer up into the netting.
Rasmus Sandin was part of the series the last time the Montreal Canadiens came back from down 3-1. That was in 2021 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sandin played in 5 of the 7 games in that series for the Leafs. Face off to the glove hand side of Dobesh. And we're going to make sure we get this right here. Is Christian Dvorak is going to get waived for Josh Anderson, or is he? Yes, he will. Is it be Lars Eller to take it for Washington? And Lars Eller wins it to the far side boards. Mangiapane plays it down low. Round to the near side. Comes out in front, but stolen away by Carrier. And here come the Canadiens to center. Trying to skate it over the line. Dvorak is stopped. It goes back. And now the Canadiens ramp it in from neutral territory. Given away by Thompson. Shot right on the money from Gallagher, but Thompson bails himself out to make the save and hang on.
Back-to-back shifts now that we've seen careless play by the Caps. That one almost ends up costing him with Brendan Gallagher jumping on the rebound.
13:57 to go in the first. We're tied at 0 on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Delmar, a globally integrated, technology-focused logistics solution provider, backed by 60 years of expertise. Experience the power of bringing simplicity.
What's up, sports fans? Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight for another night of the Playoff Pulse campaign here on Toronto Sports Insider and Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central. Got to check out with the new notebook. It's come in handy with all of the scheduling. Tonight we have 3 lives here on TSI as we prepare for our Leafs Game 6 tomorrow night. That's the big one. But the 3 matchups here on TSI, Montreal and Washington. We have our Blue Jays, our struggling Blue Jays against the Boston Red Sox. And then we have St. Louis and Winnipeg in the nightcap here on TSI. And the 2 games over on SOP Soccer Central are as follows. Hockey, Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning. And then the basketball game of the night, the Minnesota Timberwolves against the LA Lakers. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. We had to tone down the playoff pulse a little bit. We can't do every single game. We just have to stick with the big matchups and trying to keep every single sport covered and get ready for the big matchups like tomorrow night with the Maple Leafs. We've got to go get that W in Ottawa tomorrow night. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hitting that like button, subscribing if you're new, and we'll see you back in the chat.
To the Bell Center for Game 6. It's not necessarily what Montreal will have done this evening. It's what Washington will have done to themselves. And right now, with the amount of turnovers that we've seen early on in this game, you're giving the Canadiens prime-time opportunity to take the crowd right out of the game and put you back in your heels. The Caps have to get a lot tighter in their own zone with their passing.
So face-off back in the Washington zone here. Logan Thompson. We gave one right away to Brendan Gallagher prior to the break. Ended up getting back in time to make the saves. The Habs win the face-off. Back it goes to Lane Hudson, off for Demidov. Stepping in on the wing. Good stick from Nick Dowd. He reached around his back to take that away from Demidov.
A desperation play.
Now loose at the side of the net, out in front, bouncing around. Capitals to the line, not out. There's the shot. Glove save made by Logan Thompson. That's off the shot from Keenan Gooley.
Gooley gets that puck and he rifles it in. But once again, we get a look at Demidov and the confidence that he has to take you on one-on-one. And if it's not for that desperation play by Nick Dowd where he reaches behind with his stick and slashes that puck away from an unsuspecting Demidov is in there tight. And with his hand skills on Logan Thompson, I'm betting on Demidov right there.
Demidov played a good portion of his season this year with Evgeny Kuznetsov. Scott St. Petersburg was a long-time Washington Capital. We'll have a face-off here to the far side on Thompson. It was a little strange, to be honest with you, JP, to see Kuznetsov as a Carolina Hurricane at the end of last year.
Doing the bird celebration.
Yeah. A long, very successful run with the Washington Capitals before returning home to Russia this year.
Yeah, it's strange when you see guys out of uniform.
Caps lose the face-off as here's Lane Hudson with a shot from the line. That's stopped by Thompson. Back into the near side corner. Picked up by Alex Newhook. He'll move it around the boards to the line for Lane Hudson. Back down low. It's taken away by John Carlson. He'll curve that around the boards. Almost thrown right up the middle by Washington. Instead it comes out to center. And here goes McMichael down the far wing. Turning away from Lane Hudson. Passes off. Pierre-Luc Dubois skates it around. Ivan Demidov wraps him up along the boards. Capitals to the line. Chikrin with a shot. Misses wide of the net. Back up the wing for Suzuki. Now flipped out through center by Demidov. And Jacob Chikrin back to pick it up. We got a whistle behind the play. I'm not sure what that's all about.
Well, we've got an interference call coming up, and it looks like it's going to go against Pierre-Luc Dubois.
There's a bit of a crowd there between the two benches. There you have it. Montreal power play coming up. Presented by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Interference calls. It's been a topic in this series. And Washington take the first one tonight.
I think that's a bit of an understatement. And I think what you see is you always see this logjam of players as they're going back to bench. And as it gets deeper into the playoff series, guys start looking around and seeing if they can get some quick shots. And Pierre-Luc Dubois just takes an ill-timed shoulder there on Demidov, dumps him, and sends the Canadiens to the power play. Canadiens' power play has been terrific. 4 goals in their last 2 games. 4 for 9.
5 for 13 in the series. 38.4%. Habs win the face-off, but the pass for Lane Hudson goes all the way by him. And down ice for Jakub Dobiš. Both goals in the 5-2 loss were scored on the man advantage in Game 4. Here come the Canadiens to center. Lane Hudson throws it back. Nick Suzuki skates through center. Into the Washington zone. Demidov along the board and stripped to the puck. Capitals clear it. Minute 33 to go on the power play. 12:25 left in the first. This game is tied at 0. Shots are 7-1 for Montreal. Suzuki to center. Quickly off to Caulfield. Far side into the Capital zone. Caulfield up high at the point. Around it comes for Demidov right side. Back up top. Here's Hudson far side. Caulfield for Demidov out in front. Fanning on the shot is Nick Suzuki. And the Capitals take it away. It's threaded out to center for Tom Wilson. He'll skate it over the Montreal line. Pass onto the far side. Protas goes down. Fans hollering for a penalty as Montreal go back the other way. Caulfield passes off. Suzuki over to Slavkovsky. Trying to go back across. That deflects over to Suzuki. Now to Demidov. Down low for Slavkovsky. Up top, Hudson. Far side, one-timer from Caulfield. That's rejected by Thompson. 36 seconds to go in the Montreal man advantage. Play along the near side. Now Montreal's taking a penalty.
This is Slavkovsky, and he's coming over the top. Actually breaks Duhaime's stick.
What a power play that was for Montreal, despite not scoring a goal. And only getting about 90 seconds on it.
Montreal 20-minor penalty for slashing.
So Slavkovsky gets the gate for slashing. We'll go 4-on-4 for 32 seconds.
Well, there's an opportunity wasted by the Canadiens, and I'll tell you why. Yesterday in Yesterday in Brossard, before they left, you could see Demidov and Hudson and Caulfield had all gone onto a secondary ice, and they were passing the puck around, and they were really hunting for that pass through the bumper area, which we just saw. And that puck comes over to Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki just can't trigger in time, but that play will be there. But if you're going to send it across, you have to capitalize on it because the Caps will sniff it out. They will get their sticks in the right place, and they will take it away from you.
So 11:26 left in the first, tied at 0. Shot still 7-1 Montreal. I don't know if they officially got a shot on that power play. They certainly had their chances. As here come the Canadiens to center ice. Newhook on the ice right now with Jake Evans. Carries it far so. Washington territory. Into the corner for Evans. Shielding the puck away from Roy. He'll go back to the blue line for Carrier. Back on the far side. Newhook drifting through the slot. Tried the shot. That's blocked. Capitals go back the other way. Connor McMichael, far wing, crosses in with Rasmus Sandin, who flies the shot wide. It's off the glass and out of play as the Capitals are now officially on the power play. Habs penalty kill presented by Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the game, control the temperature in any room at any time.
Now, this is a pretty easy 2-on-2 play that the Canadiens are trying to defend, and that's Carrier and Matheson. And actually, they get their communication mixed up a little bit as there's a crossing pattern in front of them. And rather than hand the player off on either side and just kind of stay in their lanes, they definitely...
Comes from the face-off and they score! Ovechkin, one-timer, right off the draw. And it's 1-0 Washington.
Well, it doesn't get any easier than that. That's just a clean win back to Ovechkin. Ovechkin's waiting just outside the circle. He finds his 4th goal of the playoffs. Dobes just can't catch up to that puck in time. We've seen that time and again from Alex Ovechkin. But that's just a face-off loss and an easy shot.
So another power play goal in the postseason for Ovechkin, 30th of his career. Ties him with Pavelski and Lidstrom for 5th most in Stanley Cup playoff history. And another goal against the Montreal Canadiens, now his 9th in the postseason in 12 games against the Habs. And despite Montreal being all over Washington to start, it is a 1-0 lead for the Caps on Ovechkin's 4th of the series. Dylan Strome draws the assist, his 6th. And it's a power play goal as this goes all the way down the ice. It's an icing against Montreal with 10:35 to go in the third.
You know,
in the first round.
And as I was saying on that play, that's a clean face-off loss, and that is a tough break, unfortunately, on Dvorak. As Dvorak puts his stick down, it snaps literally in two. He's got no purchase on that puck at all. He can't do anything about it, and it's an easy win back for Strome. Bit of bad luck for the Montreal Canadiens, who had gotten off to a good start, but Alex Ovechkin makes them pay in the power play.
Now Montreal win the D-zone face-off. Matheson plays it around to the far side. Anderson banks it off the boards out to center. Strome back in his own zone for Alexiev. Up to center. Poked away over to Matheson. Now Matheson under pressure. Floats it up the near side. Alexiev tries to hold it in. Puck comes over to Carrier. He'll backhand it out through center. Van Riemsdyk into his own end. Off the boards for Strome. Played out to center. Halfway gone here in the first period. Shots 8-2. Montreal scores 1-0 Washington as the Canadiens get called here for offside. With 9:59 to go in the first, that'll send us to a break here. Ovechkin on the power play has made it 1-0 Capitals on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Are you looking for an insurance broker, passionate and professional? With 65 years of experience, SO Insurance has proven to be totally dedicated to serving its clients. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, their brokers have one priority: to find you the best offer available to insure your home, car, and all other types of...
Hey, you! Yeah, you! I'm talking to you! Thanks for hanging out with us. This is TSI Mike, and now that we've got your attention, we're bringing you every single game of the NBA and NHL playoffs while supporting SickKids Hospital in Toronto through our Playoff Pulse campaign. Let's grow our global community. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell, and join the action.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Joe Bowen here, voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Playoff Pulse on Toronto Sports Insider is all about playoff thrills and making a difference, with 100% of Leaf playoff stream revenue going directly to SickKids for their life-saving treatments and research. We're aiming for 100,000 insiders to boost our impact. So subscribe now and be a part of this incredible movement. Holy Mackinac! Let's show SickKids Hospital we're here for them. Join us today.
Hey you, yeah you, Easton Cowan, Leafs prospect here. I'm loving these Playoff Pulse live hangouts. Subscribe and turn on the bell to catch every game. Keep the chat buzzing and let's cheer for SickKids together. See you in the chat.
Shots here, JP, being 8-2 in favor of Montreal. What do you make here, the first half of the first period? Are you happy about this for Montreal, despite the fact that you're down by one?
Listen, I think if you're Montreal, you look at that play that just happened with Dvorak and his stick snapping and the puck getting back to Ovechkin. You shrug your shoulders because I think that you've played desperate, you've played organized, and so far you've kind of weathered it. And if not for a little bit of bad luck, you're probably feeling really good about how you're playing right now.
Canadians have it at center ice. Here goes the old Army of far side over to Kapanen. Can't get a great shot on net. That's poked away anyway by Thompson. And now here go the Capitals the other way. Ryan Leonard into the Montreal zone. Tried to spin that out in front. That's taken away by Jack Guy. Up to center. Over Kapanen. Plays it in off the boards. Thompson moves it over to Van Riemsdyk. Now Alex Alexia out to center. Caught by Lars Eller. One-hand pass over to Mangiapane. Quickly off to Leonard. Gets the shot away. Save made by Yakubovich. Montreal into the near side corner is Slavkovsky. Lobs it to center. This is fired right back in by the Caps. Lane Hudson over to David Savard. Stretching ahead at center ice. It's picked up by Chychrun. Now here goes Pierre-Luc Dubois. And on the near side, rifles one wide of the net. Now back behind Yakubovich. Dubois. Out in front for Chychrun. He scores! Jacob Chychrun in from the line. Catches the pass from Pierre-Luc Dubois and makes it 2-0 Washington.
Cole Caulfield is going to be hating himself for this one as Chychrun sniffs that play out and he races down to the back post. Caulfield reacts late and this pass comes over. Chychrun's able to get his stick on it to extend the lead. He's been sniffing around. He had a couple of good looks last game as well. Just didn't get any real bites, but finally gets that puck in his stick. Dobesh can't get over in time. He slides it in for a 2-0 lead.
And that was a left-handed D-man off the left side, almost along the goal line, JP. There was not a lot of space, despite the fact Dobesh was down.
20 goals on the season. You can see he's got a little bit of touch and tight.
That's his second of the series. As here go the Capitals again. Quick glove save made by Dobesh as the puck stays alive. Pierre-Luc Dubois and Tom Wilson pick up the helpers for Washington as we get an icing call here against Montreal. 8:27 to go in the first. And the Capitals here with a bit of a pushback now after the first 8 shots unanswered for Montreal. And the Capitals quickly have 2.
Took a little bit of steam out of the Canadiens, and you can see the Canadiens' shoulders kind of sagging after that first goal, but that's just a quality play by a quality player in Pierre-Luc Dubois, who finds Chychrun diving into the back post for goal number 2 on the evening.
Jake Evans wins the D-zone face-off. Caden Gooley hurries ahead to center, backhands it off the boards. And the Capitals, with Anthony Beauvillier, settle it back down in their own zone. Here's Beauvillier, far side, in on Hudson to the Montreal zone. Along the hash marks, Beauvillier along the boards. Falls down, plays the puck right to Jake Evans, and the Habs spin it around behind their own net. Now starting the breakout. Here's Evans up to center. Wrists it in as the puck rolls around into the slot. Here's Josh Anderson with a look. That one misses wide. Gallagher looking back for Carrier. That's picked off by Leonard. Back out to center. Canadians bring it right back in. Off the boards, taken away by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Now here's Mangiapane dropping off for Ryan Leonard. Steps in with a shot. Save made by Dobesh. Rebound collected by the Canadians. And Anderson skates ahead to the neutral zone. Into Washington territory, dropped off. There's a shot from Matheson, taken away in front. As Logan Thompson makes the save. Looks like the puck's gone out of play.
Mike Matheson furious with himself, thought he would have had the Canadiens on the board, and it's a little flat pass in the high slot over from Brendan Gallagher, and Matheson actually has all kinds of time to look at this. Yes, there are bodies in front of the net, but he's got enough time, and unfortunately it just takes a tip off Trevor Van Riemsdyd's stick and up into the stands.
7:16 to go in the first. 2-0 Washington. Still a lot of runway to go in this game. Nick Dowd versus Nick Suzuki in the Washington zone. Dowd's going to be tossed here, or is he? Yes, he will be. It's Brandon Duhayman to take the face-off. Protas on the far side for Washington. And Suzuki won it back, but it's stolen away by Protas. They give it away at the blue line. Habs sent it down low. Picked up by the Capitals and played off the glass out to center. Here goes Chychrun up the middle. Dishing off the Protas. Back to the far side. Chychrun long shot. That's reeled in by Dobish with the glove, and he hangs on.
Canadians have to be mindful there of Chychrun as he jumps in the play, shown an offensive flair this season. As we mentioned, 20-plus goals. He jumps right into the play, and Suzuki and Caulfield a little bit flat-footed coming back through the neutral zone. But what we've seen here from Washington early on is that their face-off play is getting better early in the game. It was definitely favoring the Canadiens. We could see Washington kind of battle back into it.
So Martin St. Louis just got a message from one of his trainers, and from what we can see here, Josh Anderson is not on the Montreal bench. And he's not on the ice right now with Dvorak, Armia, and Heineman as the Canadians play it out to center ice. Heineman gets knocked off the puck by Chychrun, so we'll keep our eyes and ears open here on what might be happening with Josh Anderson. But for now, he is not available with 6:36 to go in the first period. Canadians from center. This is dumped in by Armia. Chychrun goes back for it. Capitals ahead to center. Connor McMichael flips it in. Over top of Matheson to the far corner. This is settled down by Pierre-Luc Dubois. Throws it down low. Connor McMichael out in front. There's a big glove stop from Jakub Dobish as he takes it away from Tom Wilson in front.
Holy smoke, look at this save that Jakub Dobish makes. Uses all of his frame, and that's a sweet pass by McMichael out front. Tom Wilson thinks that he's got one on his stick, and Dobish goes completely across the crease, gets his glove out for a real pretty save.
Tom Wilson's been robbed a couple times on the doorstep in this series, JP.
Well, we saw him with the empty net goal last game. It's a pretty energetic fist bump to the Bell Center fans, but would have loved to seen that one go in as he gets robbed by Dobish.
6:14 to go in the first. 2-0 Capitals. Now shots 8-7 in favor of Montreal. We're up 8-1 at one point. Canadians win the face-off. This is cleared off the boards to center, but we got a whistle. We'll bring it back to the Montreal zone.
Now this one looks like it went out of play.
So still no Anderson. Obviously that changes the dynamic a little bit.
Well,
for the Canadians,
yeah,
JP.
it does indeed. And you know,
Washington, number 22, 2-minute minor, roughing.
Oh, we got a penalty on the play.
Yeah, it's going to be Brandon Duhayme who heads off, and this is right off of the face-off. Hands get high. Referee's coming over to have a chat to him on the bench right now as they're kind of arguing back and forth, but it's on Gooley as Gooley comes in to try and help out on that face-off. As that puck gets scrambled, and he takes a stick high to the face. So here's another golden opportunity for the Canadians right now with 6:10 left here to go in the first period. Had some chances, couldn't get some shots on the first power play. Looking to get back into this.
They did look dangerous. Habs power play brought to you by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Habs win the faceoff. Good start as Lane Hudson patrols the point. Far side, Caulfield back to Hudson. Caulfield again, far side. Down low, Suzuki. Back up top for Hudson. Right side, Demidov. Down low for Slavkovsky. Up top, Hudson. Far side, Caulfield, one-time shot. Ricochets off a body out of play.
It's a solid start for the Canadiens power play, and You can see Washington getting a little bit scrambly as that puck gets fed back from Hudson over to Cole Caulfield. Logan Thompson gets over in time, but just gets his body in the way as that puck coming in real high on him.
Right off the crown of his head.
Helmet doing the job there. That's exactly what that is designed to do.
That helmet's taking a beating for Logan Thompson. As here is Demidov off the faceoff. Back up high, Hudson for Demidov right side. Hudson, far side, Caulfield. Back over to Hudson. Right side, Demidov. Down low, Slavkovsky for Demidov. Looking back down low for Slav. He's bothered here by Matt Roy in the corner. Pulls it away. Back up high. Lane Hudson now in the slot. Offloads to Suzuki. Here's Hudson. One-time shot bouncing around, and it stays out. 60 seconds to go on the power play. Hudson. Left side for Caulfield. Down low, Suzuki right across for Demidov. That gets away from him. And shot right off the boards and out through center by Washington.
Well, Lane Hudson had control of that puck as he chips it back in, but he feels Tom Wilson's pressure from behind. It was a bit of a careless pass. Turns that one over to Washington, who were able to clear.
35 seconds to go in the man advantage. Second unit on the ice. Here goes Newhook with speed over the line. Matheson handles up top. Matheson dancing in, trying to pass it away. Fanned on it. And the Capitals throw it down the ice. Matheson had his stick lifted just as he tried to work that puck to the far side. As here goes Newhook. Crossing over the Washington line. Pass fumbled by Brendan Gallagher, but retrieved by Emil Heidemann off the right side. There's the shot we've been looking for. That one rattles off the goalpost and comes around back to center. Power play over. Newhook up the middle, flies one off the mark. Now back behind the Capitals net. Washington control. They're up 2-0. 4:02 to go in the first. 0 for 2 on the power play on the Montreal Canadiens as Trevor Van Riemsdyk engineers the breakout with a pass to center. Picked off by Alex Carrier. Out of his feet, he'll shoot the puck in as it rides around the boards for Yoel Armia. Josh Anderson back on the ice. Good sign for Montreal. As here come the Capitals. Up the middle, there's a pass for Ovechkin. One-time shot down low was stopped by Dobish. As it goes back to center, here's Gooley. Plays it in behind the Washington net. Jake Evans. It's worked over by Alexiev as it comes out to center. Here goes Ovechkin, right side moving in with a shot. Another save made by Dobish with the right pad.
Dobish really had to work hard on that shot from Ovechkin, who got all kinds of weight behind it.
Capitals ahead to center. Puck rolling through for Ryan Leonard. Trying to cut up the middle. Loose at the side for Beauvillier. Save made by Dobish. There's Leonard and Jack-Eye getting into it. This game has had a little bit of life injected to it here in the last few minutes.
Well, Canadians a little bit careless coming back as they let the Caps get a good 3-on-2 in, and Ovechkin gets back-to-back quality shots that Dobish is able to steer away.
2:45 left in the first. We'll be back in a moment here on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
For over 10 years, Novo has teamed up with thousands of employers to establish high-performance OHS game plans. We excel in our field by providing top-level, comprehensive, and integrated occupational health, safety, well-being, and human resources services. Being part of your success is our greatest motivation and pushes us to innovate every day. Together, we are creating healthy, dedicated, and safe workplaces. Novo is a proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
2:55 to go in the first period. Shots 10-9 in favor of Washington, and will also lead in the score category 2-0. GP, the Canadians have had some chances here to get out in front and then to get back in it, but they've fallen short. 0 for 2 now in the power play.
Yeah, and there's been some opportunities at 5-on-5 as well, and I think it's a sign of a young team. When there's some vulnerabilities with your opponent, you've got to be able to take advantage, and clearly the Canadians missed an opportunity on that first power play. And we just saw another chance with Emil Heineman as he collects the puck, fires through a defender, and catches the upright.
Heineman looking for his first goal since January 3rd against the Chicago Blackhawks. It's been a long wait. There's injury troubles in the middle there as well. We know he can fire the puck with the best of them, though. As the Canadians win their defensive zone face-off, as Carrier off the boards, able to squeak it out to center ice. Protas sends it in behind the net for Dobish. Canadians regroup. Matheson feeds it up the far side. Speeding in is Demidov. Tries a shot. That's smothered by Matt Roy. Demidov over on the near side. Shoved into the boards by Rasmus Sandin. Puck comes back down low. Evans with Pierre-Luc Dubois. Spills out in front of the Washington net. All the way back to the blue line. Matheson down the left side with Newhook. Back up top. Matheson wrister goes off a stick and wide. And the Capitals clear it off the boards and out. And here goes McMichael. Past Matheson on a break. McMichael trying to slide it home with the backhand. He's stopped. Now Wilson tosses it in behind the net. Rolls over for Lars Eller far side. And as the Canadians dodge a bullet on that Connor McMichael breakaway from center. As this is chipped all the way out through the neutral zone. And it will not have enough for icing. 1:40 to go in the first period. 2-0 Capitals. They lob it down the ice to the Montreal zone. Jack-Eye caught an edge. And that's picked up by Ryan Leonard. Tried to center it, but quickly stolen away by Nick Suzuki. Canadians at center. See Chikrin take this away. Laid back into the Washington zone for Carlson. Up the far side. Settled down by Jack-Eye. Off to Gooley. Canadians back in over the line. Don't get far with it as the puck bounces back to the neutral zone. And all the way back for Montreal is Caden Gooley as he slides in behind his own net. Gooley, breakout pass to the neutral zone. Carried in by Lane Hudson. Hudson sends it to the net. That's deflected high off the glass. Dowd under pressure from Josh Anderson as the puck comes loose far side. Here go the Caps. Pass for Protas, down for Brandon Duhaime. Deep into Montreal territory. Up the near side, Wilson throws ahead. Back to the line, Matt Roy steers it wide of the net. Around it comes for Duhaime. Far side, back across for Roy. From long range, good tip in front by Wilson. Sent wide of the net, and then it throws a hard hit on the far side. As the puck is back at center with 14 seconds to go in the first. Capitals carry it down the left side.
Canadians on their heels.
Habs trying to dig it loose off the boards. 5 seconds to go in the period. Loose behind the net for Hudson. And he'll just skate it out as the first period comes to an end with the Caps up by a pair.
Well, it's not for lack of effort, nor is it lack for opportunities for the Canadians, but Washington, after falling behind 8-1 in shots, storm back. They're leading in the shot department, but more importantly, they've got a 2-0 lead on the Canadians after one.
Quick strike off the faceoff for Alexander Ovechkin, his fourth of the series from Dylan Strome on the power play at 9:12, and then Jacob Chikrin not long after his second of the series from Pierre-Luc Dubois and Tom Wilson at 11:15. 2-0 Washington after 20 minutes of play in an elimination game tonight. Game 5, Capitals lead the series 3-1. We'll take a break here. When we come back, it's the first intermission roundtable featuring Mitch Gallo and JP O'Connor on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Everything Montreal Canadiens, all in one spot. Habs highlights.
Jack-Eye and Middleton dropping the gloves.
Habs interviews.
We always believe we always want to play hard.
Habs analysis.
They've been competitive. They've shown the will, the fight to be where they are right now.
Habs lunch with Campbell versus Gallo. Weekdays noon to 1 on TSN 690. Also available as a podcast on the free iHeartRadio app. The best rotisserie chicken is slow roasted with love at Saint-Hubert. This spring, enjoy our locally sourced chicken in 1,001 ways with one of our 3 sauces, including the brand new spicy Asian sauce. Try our new rotisserie items, such as the tikka masala quarter leg and rib combo, or our Saint-Hubert bowl topped with rotisserie chicken breast. Whatever you're in the mood for, our tasty locally sourced chicken will satisfy everyone's tastes. Discover our new products for a limited time. Details at saintshubert.com.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee, made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Bell Pure Fiber is the technology you need for high-performance applications. It leverages light signals transmitted through optical fiber. It's capable of providing huge bandwidth, super low latency, and it's immune to electromagnetic interference.
Basically what he means is, it's incredibly fast internet. Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $70 per month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell, internet just got better.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee, made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech.
When things start heating up on the ice, count on Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling to keep the temperature comfortable in every zone of your home.
Mitsubishi Electric, official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1987.
It's time to make some noise and cheer on your favorite team. Because whenever the Canadiens win, you win with the 3 for $3 offer at KFC. A delicious way to savor victory. KFC, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Some conditions apply. Valid the day after Canadiens win. Minimum additional purchase of $1. Offer only valid at participating restaurants. Canadiens Hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Afforded to Pierre-Luc Dubois this season. I think he's given him some time to kind of get himself out of funks.
Habs behind the Washington net, centering feet for Suzuki. Shot on the mark. Thompson makes the save and covers up in the blue paint. Around it comes for Demidov right side. Back up top. Here's Hudson far side. Caulfield for Demidov out in front. Fanning on the shot is Nick Suzuki. And the Capitals take it away.
Rather than hand the player off on either side and just kind of stay in their lanes, they definitely
comes from the face-off and they score. Ovechkin one-timer right off the draw, and it's 1-0 Washington. Now here goes Pierre-Luc Dubois, and on the near side, rifles one wide of the net. Now back behind Jakub Dobeš. Dubois out in front for Chychrun, he scores. Jacob Chychrun in from the line. Catches the pass from Pierre-Luc Dubois and makes it 2-0 Washington. This is settled down by Pierre-Luc Dubois. Throws it down low. Connor McMichael out in front. There's a big glove stop from Jakub Dobeš as he takes it away from Tom Wilson in front. Matheson down the left side with Newhook. Back up top, Matheson wrister goes off a stick and wide. And the Capitals clear it off the boards and out. And here goes McMichael. Pass Matheson on a break. McMichael trying to slide it home with a backhand. He's stopped.
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. I'm Mitch Geller with Lucas Scott. After one period of play, the Washington Capitals lead the Canadiens 2-0 in Game 5 of the first round. Capitals lead the series 3-1. Canadiens facing elimination. Your first period scoring summary, 9-12. Alex Ovechkin, power play goal, his fourth of the series from Dylan Strome. And at 11:15, Jacob Chychrun, his second of the series, with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Tom Wilson getting assists. It is time for the first intermission roundtable, and we have JP O'Connor with us. JP, I thought the start to the period was really promising for Montreal, and then it all fell apart.
Yeah,
what happened?
It did indeed. And well, I mentioned during the broadcast, Mitch, that there's times when the team in front of you is going to be vulnerable, and you got to be able to take advantage of it. And I just don't think the Canadiens were opportunistic, and we've seen them be opportunistic like that this season, and especially laterally. But we didn't see it in the first period. The Caps were very much there for the taking, and you can even see it in the reaction of Spencer Carberry on the bench, who was really laying into his guys on a few occasions. And then you get a bit of a lucky play, unfortunately, for the Canadiens, but fortunate for Alex Ovechkin, who was basically just standing there like they draw it up in practice as Dvorak's stick shatters and he gets a one-timer off on the power play from 25 feet, and Ovechkin's going to score those more often than he misses.
And, Spencer Carberry was probably most animated when Pierre-Luc Dubois took the interference penalty in the middle of the ice on Demidov, just a really bad penalty to take. And Spencer Carberry gets really upset. Pierre-Luc Dubois goes out there on his very next shift, and he makes a great pass to Chychrun on the goal that made it 2-0 for Washington. But, JP, I'll ask you, I don't know how many times you've seen the goal at this point. Look, it's a good play by Dubois. I don't want to take anything away from it. But how is Dubois able to feed that puck through what should be the most contested area of the ice with sticks and people getting in the way? How is that lane open?
Well, listen, if it's a forward who's there, then it's probably not open, right? But when you have somebody... Caulfield was defending Chychrun.
Yes.
Right. So what I'm saying, if it's a forward who is diving to the back post, then that lane is generally covered. But you're always going to have the delayed reaction when it's somebody coming in from the point. You're too busy trying to take care of all kinds of space around you. And if you don't pick up on Chychrun diving right away, then it can be a sprint to the back door, and that's exactly what happened. Pierre-Luc Dubois is able to take advantage of his size. He holds guys off, and he lets Chychrun get to the back post, and it's too late for Caulfield to get there. And I mentioned it during the call that Caulfield's going to hate himself when he sees that play, that he will know that it was his man who gets to the back post, and it ends up costing the Canadiens dearly. We'll see if they can get back in, but those are the costly mistakes that happen whenever you get caught watching a puck.
What did you think of Dobesh? Because he seems to be in the crosshairs online for Canadian fans. JP, the first goal is an Alexander Ovechkin, the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL, teeing up a slap shot off a face-off. And the second goal, Dobesh is forced to move pretty quickly from left to right, and maybe has a chance at that one. Okay. Those are two pretty nice goals from Washington. And then, I thought, he stuck with McMichael on the breakaway pretty well. He made the glove save on Tom Wilson. Dobesh hasn't been a factor for Montreal in a negative.
If anything, he's been a positive factor. You go back, if the Canadiens are able to, to get a goal and battle their way back into this and get it in the third period where it ends up being a drag race to the finish line, you look back at either of those saves. I happen to think the Tom Wilson save saves the game right now. I think coming out of the period, it could easily have been 4-1, and it's just a matter of getting through the next 40 minutes to wrap up the season. So listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You'll never be able to convince me right now that Jakub Dobesh hasn't stood in his head. And if I'm Nick Suzuki as the captain of the Montreal Canadiens, I'm walking into that room and I'm saying, that guy in the corner with the pads on has kept our season alive. We need to go out and get one for him because we just haven't done it on the offensive side. That would be my reaction.
JP, when you say the score could be 4-1, are you looking at the Heineman post or the Suzuki unable to receive the crazy pass from Demidov on the left?
Yeah, that's the one that I'm looking at,
Okay.
and I would be frustrated right now if I was Marty St. Louis, looking at my team and probably prodding them on that. You cannot pass up opportunities. If those pucks are getting close, you just have to take full advantage. Now, you look at Heineman. Heineman triggers a puck right there, and if he shoots that puck 100 times, it's still not going to go in. It's still going to hit the post, right? But the other one, I think that there's an open net opportunity, and Suzuki just can't get it off his stick. That's the one that I'm looking at for sure.
And one from Luca before we wrap up here.
JP, obviously they haven't been able to capitalize on the power play tonight, but what have you made of the Canadiens' power plays since, Patrick Laine's been out of the lineup?
Well, you have to look, I think, directly at Demidov and or the flanks, right? You look at Caulfield on one flank, Demidov on the other, and I think it forces Washington to understand that they're getting attacked from everywhere now. Luke, I don't know if you remember, but earlier on in the series, in Games 1 and Games 2, when Laine was there, they were very much kind of sealing off the middle of the ice. And they were saying to the Canadiens, if you can get it over there, you can have a go, Patrick Laine, and we'll take our chances if you can beat us. But right now, they can't do that anymore because they know that Caulfield can trigger, but that he can also pass it. And that Demidov is more than happy to take you one-on-one. Hudson can dance around and throw passes with the best players in the game. And Nick Suzuki is as good as they get right now for the Montreal Canadiens. So there's an awful lot there. And I just think in the last couple of games where they've been able to score those 4 goals, it's been more options than anything than overpowering.
Thanks, JP.
You got it. Thanks.
JP O'Connor back with the second period of play. Luca will be back with the second intermission roundtable, and I'll be back with the out-of-town scoreboard. In Washington, the Capitals lead the Canadiens 2-0 after 1 on TSN 690.
You're listening to the home of sports in Montreal, TSN 690, CKGM, and iHeart Radio Station.
Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood Voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
Simplify the optimization of your supply chain with Delmar. For almost 60 years, Delmar has provided integrated solutions with innovative technologies, transforming logistics challenges into effortless experiences. Visit delmarcargo.com to connect with an expert. Delmar, logistics made simple.
$1 wings, $1 wings, $1 wings. Boston Pizza has the ultimate lineup. During every Montreal game this season, our wings are only $1 each at Boston Pizza. Come in for some delicious wings, an ice-cold Molson, and a great game. Now that's a winning trio. Visit bostonpizza.com to find a Boston Pizza near you and reserve your table. Boston Pizza is the place to be. See details in restaurant.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
Looking to update your home decor? Start with MF Paints. For your kitchen, living room, bathroom, patio, you'll want to paint it all. MF Paints, 100% Canadian-made paints and stains, preferred by professionals and DIYers alike. Available throughout Quebec at your local retailer.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Cernak able to get to it. Panthers find the loose puck. Deflected back up high. Kachuk. Looking for Reinhardt. Back it goes. Kachuk at the line. He'll let it fly. Knocked down in front. It's Verhaeghe! In a potential clincher, Carter Verhaeghe comes through again. We're tied.
Bigger the game.
Back to Montreal Canadiens hockey. Second goal of the playoffs for Carter Verhaeghe, and that gave the They got the Florida Panthers on the goal, tied the game at 1. It is now 2-2 between Tampa Bay and Florida, with Tampa Bay facing elimination. The other goals from Gonçalves, from Glendening and Hedman, and Nick Paul also scored for Tampa Bay from Connor Geekie. Florida's goals, Anton Lundell from Brad Marchand and Lusterinen. Also, American Hockey League playoffs, Laval Rocket in action taking on the Cleveland Monsters in Game 1. That one is 0-0 after 1 period of play. Jacob Fowler made 10 saves in the first period. That's your out-of-town scoreboard. Second period between Washington and Montreal coming up next. Washington up 2-0. Victor Finley and JP O'Connor with the call.
Are you looking for a damage insurance broker that specializes in commercial insurance? There is only one name, SR Insurance. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, SR Insurance brokers are the perfect advisors for you. With more than 65 years experience, SR Insurance is proud of its team of brokers who stand out for their ability to select the best products for your business. Call 833-370-2704 or visit sr.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
We all have the same goal, to be environmentally responsible. That's why Rio Tinto and the Montreal Canadiens are teaming up. We're replacing 1.5 million single-use plastic cups at the Bell Center with cups made with infinitely recyclable aluminum from Quebec. And the low-carbon aluminum we use for the cups is made by Rio Tinto right here in Quebec. It's a sustainability slapshot. To learn more, go to riotinto.com.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite pho shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Export. Ultra. XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on your home of the Habs, TSN 690.
Welcome back to Habs Hockey on TSN 690. Victor Finley alongside JP O'Connor for the start of the second period in Game 5. 3-1 series lead for the Capitals. Must win tonight for the Canadiens. It is 2-0 for Washington after 1 period. A very topsy-turvy tale of 2 periods type 20 minutes to open up.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if I'm Spencer Carberry, even though my team's up 2-0 after 1, I go into that locker room and tear strips off of them, letting them know that they've just dodged a bullet and to be ready here as the second period starts.
We start out at center ice with Nick Dowd shoveling it into the Montreal zone. Dobish out to pinch it off behind the net. And now he'll shoot it around out through center ice. Delayed high stick as Sandin touches it. That brings play to a halt.
It's been an interesting start for Protas. He must have been questioning whether or not he was going to get the nod this evening. I'm sure that he was pushing hard to get back in after recovering from the cut foot. But one of the luxuries that teams have when they're ahead in the series is they've got a little bit of time. They don't have to feel like they need to get a top gun into the lineup, that they can let them sit and ripen a little bit longer.
Ozone faceoff coming up for Montreal. Pierre-Luc Dubois wins it back for Washington, who are now only without Martin Firavari due to injury. He's done for the season. So here goes Caulfield trying to poke it in behind the Washington net. Comes around for Tom Wilson. Out in front dangerously, but Dubois was there. The Capitals throw it out to center. Carried down the far side. McMichael slides it back for Dubois. Looking up the middle. That's deflected right on Jakub Dobish by his own defender. As Nick Suzuki crashed into the net afterwards.
Slow to get up. Boy, did he ever fall in there. Huge tumble.
He managed to take that away from Tom Wilson, but in the process, forced his own netminder to make the save.
Well, Tom Wilson was going to the back post, and as Nick Suzuki pushes this puck out of reach from Tom Wilson, he does get bumped a little bit, and it's just enough to send him off balance as he catches his backside against the Dobesh's post. It was a pretty heavy tumble.
Nick Suzuki does have a Game 5 overtime winner to his credit back in 2021. Sparked a comeback against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Nick Suzuki's played some pretty important games and has showed some real leadership this season. Canadians will be looking at it again tonight. You remember the clinching game for Carolina where he had a goal and an assist, and the back-to-back games against Florida later in the season. He had 5 points in those 2 games.
5 overtime winners in the regular season this year. As the Habs win it back into their own zone. Here is Alex Carrier. Trundles ahead to center and then shoots it in. Puck rides around the boards. Picked up by Nick Dowd. Quickly off to Brandon Duhaime. Into the Montreal zone. Here goes Dowd up the middle to the backhand. 5-hole save made by Dobish. Couple early tests for him here. Just a minute and 25 seconds into the second period. Down behind the net, out in front. First shot for Protas. Goes off the pad of Dobish.
Dobish never saw that pad hitting his right side.
Now Nick Dowds rolls it back down low. Savard under pressure. Puck bounces to the far corner. Alex Newhook on it. Rolls it back over to Jack-Eye. Now set up behind his own net. Savard up to center, caught by Evans. Played in just over the Washington line by Newhook, but taken right back to center by the Caps. Ovechkin wristing it in. Comes around the boards for Anderson. That slides loose in front. Dobish again bails out Montreal with a couple saves. And the Canadiens lift it down the ice. Just 2 minutes here to the second period, and the Capitals have had all sorts of chances to go up 3-0.
The Canadiens are doing it themselves here with careless play in and around their net.
Montreal behind Logan Thompson now. Here's Brendan Gallagher. Off the boards to the line for Matheson. Tied up. Taken away by Gallagher. Back to the blue line. Carrier. Back and forth off the far side. Carrier goes across now for Matheson. Shot toward the net. Takes a couple deflections and goes wide. Is it centered by Dvorak. Gallagher was there. He'll throw it wide of the net now. Far side. Carrier up top for Dvorak. Over to Matheson. Drifts one wide. Capitals chance to clear. It's played ahead for Beauvillier. And he'll dribble one over the Montreal blue line. Here come the Canadiens back the other way. Caulfield down the near side. Throws one across into the slot. Rolling to the line. And Caulfield able to keep it in. Tries to make a move now on Eller. Along the boards. Taken away by Washington. And played down the ice by Lars Eller. We are 3.5 minutes into the second period. 2-0 the score for Washington as Caulfield shoots it in. Behind the Washington net, goes around to the far side. Gooley at the blue line. For Slavkovsky, back to Gooley. Long range shot. That one sails wide. Wilson plays it ahead. Pierre-Luc Dubois to center. Tries to flip it in on Gooley. That's rejected, and Gooley's got the puck. As he rifles a pass to center ice, it's swept in by Caulfield. Thompson leaves it behind the net for Rasmus Sandin. And up to center ice he goes. Sandin, left side, low shot. Steered away by Dobish. Off the glass, Heineman able to get the puck to center. Capitals take it away. Rasmus Sandin passes back ahead. In from center ice. Lars Eller chips it in. Dobish out to play it over to Jack-Eye. He gets worked over by Eller, but it's picked up in the meantime by Oliver Kapanen. He'll skate into Washington territory. Near side corner. Puck gets jarred loose. To the line, not out. Yoel Armia sends it back down low. Heineman goes into the corner with Jacob Chychrun. Canadians try and break free. Puck rolls out through the middle, but it's picked up by Carlson. He gave it away at the blue line. Ivan Demidov in on the far side. It's canceled out by Lars Eller. Now backhanded off the boards to center by Chychrun. Here goes Ryan Leonard over the line, trying to make a move up the middle. Well played by Carrier, who got some help from Evans, who's got the puck now in on the far side. Here come the Canadiens. Pass up the middle intended for Demidov, was broken up by Leonard. And back down the ice it goes to the Montreal zone. Carrier works it over to Matheson. Up to center. Newhook bumped off the puck by Roy. Here go the Capitals up the middle. Down the wing. Low shot for Duhaime is stopped. Picks it up far side. Capitals to the line. Sandin. Far side for Duhaime. Extra attacker on the ice for the Caps. Matt Roy lifts it down the wing. Touched up by Newhook. And the Montreal Canadiens will go shorthanded here with 14:15 remaining in the second period.
Well, this looks like it's going to be a slashing call to me on Mike Matheson as he comes in late as Protas was in front of the net. A bit of a desperation play. And there it is.
Montreal penalty kill brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the game, control the temperature in any room at any time.
Well, we saw the opening goal of this game scored on the power play by Alex Ovechkin in the first period on a face-off win by Dylan Strome. Christian Dvorak's stick explodes and Alex Ovechkin's able to capitalize.
The Capitals are 1 for 1 tonight. Just 2 for 11 in the series. Of course, they were 0 for 5 in Game 4. Habs used a big penalty kill middle stages of the game to grab the momentum back and get themselves back into the game. As the Habs work this out to center off the faceoff, and John Carlson will range back for it in the Washington zone. Capitals start the 5-on-4 in their own end as Carlson weaves to center ice. Swept in down low by Ovechkin. Picked up by Dylan Strome, taken away by Savard, and cleared out past the blue line all the way to Logan Thompson. There goes John Carlson again. Dropping it back, Dylan Strome. Cuts through center ice, and on the right side, Wilson passes over Ovechkin with his shot. And another strong save made by Jakub, who steers that out of play.
Canadians getting fortunate as that puck comes across the ice to Alex Ovechkin, and Ovechkin bobbles it, has to settle it down. Ice looking a little bit bumpy, and it's coming across again from Tom Wilson. Ovechkin lets that puck go, and it just ramps off the glass and up into the stands.
It's a game-high 4th shot for Alexander Ovechkin tonight.
76 career playoff goals after the one in the first period.
He battles off the far side here as it comes loose in the middle for Yoel Armia. Steered to center ice. Habs have a 3-on-1. Here's Evans coming in. Passes over. Big stop from Logan Thompson. He denies a one-timer from Kaden Cooley.
Hard to believe he can get a 3-on-1 after chipping that puck out of the zone, but Canadians take advantage of it. Can't convert.
Goalies have been sharp to start the second period. As here go the Habs again. Dvorak with speed. Short-handed, sharp angle. That's muscled away by Thompson. 36 seconds to go, the man advantage for Washington. Capitals to center. This is fired in. Rides around the boards to Dvorak. Down low, Savard behind his own net. Taken away off the far side boards by Pierre-Luc Dubois. Down low, Wilson. Back up top. Ovechkin steps in, throws one wide of the net. Comes around to John Carlson off the right side for Dylan Strome. Floating up high into the slot. Carlson, right side. Pierre-Luc Dubois. Sharp angle, passes back. Strome. Power play is over. Matheson returns to the ice. The Canadiens kill it off. Capitals are 1 for 2. Tom Wilson, right side. Drops it around for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Into the slot. Strome, far side. Sandin. It's a sizzler right across for Matt Roy. Knocks it down. Swings it around the boards. Capitals keep it moving. Looking down low for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Puck free in the near side corner. Savard tried to lift it out. This is chipped off the glass by Carrier. Habs have 3 defensemen on the ice now as they finally get it out to center for Josh Anderson. As the Capitals go right back down the ice. Attacking in waves, McMichael throws it across. Back into the slot it comes. McMichael's got it, throws one just wide blocker side on Jakub as the Canadiens work the puck loose and start the breakout to center. Caulfield down the right side, skating in with a shot. Dangerous, but wide of the net. Near side, Caulfield to the line. Played back down low behind the Washington net. Comes around the near side boards. Now loose to the far wing. Lane Hudson steps in front of Connor McMichael. Now it's picked up by Suzuki in the corner. Back over to Lane Hudson. For Nick Suzuki. Curves it back to Hudson. Up top, long-range shot is blocked off a body in front. And the Capitals slowly to center ice. 10:39 left in the second period. 2-0 Washington. Shot 17-12 in favor of the Capitals. As here goes Juraj Slafkovsky skating in over the Capital line. Tries a shot, can't get it through traffic. And Ovechkin chases after it at center. Ovechkin and Matheson go all the way into the Montreal zone. As it goes over to the far wing for Caulfield. He'll pass it back to Matheson.
It's a good close down by Matheson on Ovechkin in the corner.
Little backhander for Matheson. Finds its way in behind the Capital net. Chychrun under pressure from Evans. Puck gets loose into the slot. There's a shot from Carrier. That hit a body in front. Now loose in the slot again. Drifting over to Matheson. Near side off the boards. Evans can't field the pass. And Beauvillier chips it down the wing. Ryan Leonard racing after it. Spills into the end boards with Alex Carrier.
Carrier having a tough run of it.
Capitals keep it moving in the Montreal zone. Left side, Alexia with a shot. Where is it? Dobish flops back on top of it in the crease. He's got it underneath him. And the whistle sounds. 9:33 to go in the second. Back and forth here in Washington. It stays 2-0 Capitals on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica.
Hey, sports fans, thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Toronto Sports Insider during the Playoff Pulse. Our mission is simple, bringing sports fans together to hang out, cheer, and change the world one insider at a time, while supporting SickKids Hospital in Toronto every single game.
Cheers, insiders and sports fans from around the world. The Playoff Pulse campaign on Toronto Sports Insider is uniting fans worldwide through the thrill of NHL and NBA playoffs. Every game, every fan, every moment counts. The link is pinned in the chat and in the description. Check out our campaign page. Donate if you can or share it with friends. Holy Mackinac! Every click helps sick kids heal the future. Just by being here, you have already made an impact. Now, chat it up, keep it classy, and let's keep changing the world one insider at a time.
This has been a pretty loose period, though, wouldn't you say?
I think if you're Spencer Carberry, you're still frustrated that yes, your team is getting looks, and Dobish has kept the Canadiens in it again here in the second period. I think that you're playing with fire with a 2-goal lead and giving up 3-on-1 shorthanded. That's not the recipe that I'd be looking to cook with.
Face off in the Montreal zone to the blocker side of Dobish. Lars Eller on the ice with Mangiapane and Leonard. They win the face-off. This is sent around the boards by Alexiev. Mangiapane moves it back behind the net. Here's Matheson for Montreal. Rolls it up the far wing. Yoel Armia on the ice with Heineman. And Jake Evans as it comes out to center ice. Eller knocked over. Here goes Ryan Leonard down the right side, cutting in, and can't get the shot away as he's spilled into the corner. Crowd wants a penalty, but they won't get one. As the Capitals back in their own zone. Alexiev over to Van Riemsdyk. Out to center. This is deflected by Mangiapane out of play.
Ryan Leonard with the game on his stick as he collects that puck, and you can see the acceleration that he has and the confidence. Still such a young guy, as we know. It's his first playoff experience coming out of college, and he just gets Mike Matheson on the right angle, takes the puck hard to the net. I think he actually, I'm going to tell you now, Victor, after seeing this replay, he actually gets lucky that he doesn't get an embellishment call on this. You could have called a trip, no question about that. Canadians dodge a bullet, but I think you could have also called an embellishment call on Leonard.
I think he was going for the Bobby Orr pose there.
That's
how I would look at
it. You know what? I'll give him the pass. If that's what you're going for, then you get the pass.
He's a Massachusetts guy. As here go the Capitals in on the right side. Protas moves it across. It's deflected by Lane Hudson. Back to center. The Canadians step in offside. Just 20 years old is Ryan Leonard, so it's not like he would have grown up watching Bobby Orr.
Well, I'm sure that he's seen the pictures. I'm sure that across Massachusetts and Bruins Nation that you can't walk 5 steps without seeing Bobby Orr winning against St. Louis.
Obie Baker finalist this year, Ryan Leonard with Boston College. He's going to be a good player for the Caps next year, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. And I thought that he was just okay in the first 2 games. He looks a little bit overwhelmed, but looked very comfortable in Game 3 despite that loss by the Caps in Montreal. And there's going to be better opportunities for him here at home now that he's a little bit more comfortable.
Into the Washington zone. Here goes Josh Anderson around the net. Out in front, shot up high, another one right between the eyes on Logan Thompson. Once again, the mask doing its job as the Capitals clamber ahead to center. Duhaime passes off, far side, Sandin. Turns this one down low, looking behind the Montreal net. It's taken away by Carrier. Alex Carrier feeds it to center for Anderson. Backhands it in, behind the Washington net. Taken by Chychrun, almost give it away. Now it is taken at the line by Montreal. Throw it across to Goulet. He takes a big hit along the boards as he plays it down low. Matt Roy looks out to center ice. Or it's picked up by Newhook. In on the far side. Chychrun plays it around. Almost out in front. It's picked up by Chychrun off the referee. As Newhook has it at center. Passes over Demidov. Plays it in on the backhand. 7:18 left in the second period. 2-0 for Washington. Montreal's season on the ropes tonight. Down 3-1 in this best-of-7 series. Kapanen at center. Wristing it in left side. Puck rides around the boards. Chychrun plays it over to Roy. He'll lob it to center ice. That's gloved down and carried over the line by Carrier. Right side. Low shot. Turned away. And the Capitals make their way out to center. Swatted ahead by Strome. Quickly taken back up ice by Montreal. And played in deep by Nick Suzuki. Thompson out for it. Puck rides around the far side all the way down the ice. That's going to go the distance for icing.
What we've seen here with the Canadiens in the second period is there's been at times that they've looked a little bit frantic and haven't really had a lot of communication, and there's been plenty of other times where we've seen them look connected. The last few moments here is one of those cases, and Josh Anderson has a golden opportunity as he skates onto a puck, gets Logan Thompson to commit to that left post and skates it all the way around the net. Thompson's got to come back in with the mask save, Victor, as you mentioned, to keep this a 2-goal lead.
Canadians win the faceoff from the line, played over near side for Cole Caulfield. Skipped in behind the net, quickly taken away by Pierre-Luc Dubois. Cannot get it out. Lane Hudson tried to throw it in front. That's intercepted. Capitals up the center ice. Dubois into the right side. Passes over. McMichael up the middle. Dangerous look and another strong save from Dobish. Now Carlson holds it in at the point. Down low to McMichael. Near side. Stripped away by Lane Hudson. Sprinting out to center. He'll drop it. Caulfield looks out in front. He misses Slavkovsky. As a centering attempt deflects off a body and high out of play. 5:51 to go in the second period of play. Capitals up 2-0 on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
At IGA, we help you save with our new Verified Prices promotion. Every week, check the front page of our flyer to discover our offers. Enjoy the lowest prices on selected products or automatically receive the difference in Scene Plus points. It's guaranteed. No proof required at checkout. IGA. Peace of mind is everything. For a limited time at participating stores. Details in the flyer and at IGA.net.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to LaCage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At LaCage, everyone's a fan.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech.
Miss the good old days? Of course you do. Winnie's on Crescent has always been the place to cheer on Montreal's hockey team. Come enjoy pub fare before, during, and after the game. Who knows who you'll see? Winnie's Bar and Restaurant, 1459 Crescent, winniesbar.com.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Back in Washington, it's a 2-0 lead for the Capitals with 5:51 to go in the second period. As JP, the Canadiens are in need of a comeback. Cole Caulfield has had some chances tonight. In fact, he's got a team-high 2 shots.
Yeah, 2 shots actually. Was coming into the game this evening with 21 shots through his first 4 games. So make that 23 and tally it all up. And he's going to want that coverage that was blown in the first period to Jacob Chikrin. He'll want that one back. But he has looked dangerous. He's looked like the most dynamic of that line so far in this game.
Canadiens will line up in the Washington zone. It'll be Dvorak versus Nick Dowd. Dvorak wins the draw. Savard over on the far side. Quick shot for Matheson on a one-timer's blocked. So Savard and Matheson together on a pairing here. Matheson far side point over to David Savard. From the line, plays it down low. Nick Dowd along the end boards. Comes loose. Dowd picks it up again. He'll steer it to center. Glove down by Matheson. Under pressure. Capitals sweep it in. Picked up by Savard, who hopes that tonight is not his final game in the National Hockey League. He's already announced his retirement at the end of this season. As the Canadiens into the Capitals zone, here's a shot for Dvorak that's high off the stick of Chikrin.
Chikrin just manages to get his stick in there as Josh Anderson beats that icing down for the Canadiens. It's difficult, isn't it, for players, because when you get into an elimination game, everybody handles it a little bit differently. You hope everybody's able to draw the positives and have that energy come out. But, for some players on expiring contracts that know they're going to go to other teams, or other players, in this case like David Savard, he might be one of those guys who's looking at that and seeing all of a sudden the end is right there. And it's tough emotionally.
Capitals flip this out to center off the glass. This is playoff game number 62 tonight for David Savard over a number of runs with Columbus, Tampa Bay, where he won a Stanley Cup, and of course this year with Montreal. Habs at center ice. Here's Suzuki. Rolls it to the Washington line. That's taken away and settled down by the Caps. Played back out through center ice. Dobish out to play it behind his own net. Played over to Lane Hudson. Skating ahead to center ice. He'll flip it into the far corner. Chikrin to the end boards with Heineman. Played up the far side. Beauvillier directs it to the neutral zone. Picked up by Slavkovsky. And rifles it back in. Slavkovsky on the ice right now with Heineman and Suzuki. As the Capitals play it ahead to center. Now Oliver Kapanen steps on for Montreal. As Beauvillier chases the puck in deep to Montreal territory and chops it over the glass and out of play.
Some kind of series that Beauvillier's having. Just a tremendous series as we see him again on the ice in deep with Mike Matheson.
Yeah, 4:01 to go in the second period. We'll take a quick break here on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
The biggest biggest Latin music festival in Canada is back. Fuego Fuego, May 24th and 25th at Montreal's Olympic Park. Don't miss reggaeton legend Nicky Jam, Mexico superstar Peso Pluma, El Alfa's final show in Canada, Puerto Rico's icon Wisin, Venezuela's rising star Danny Ocean, and many more. Join the fiesta and heat up your summer with 2 days of non-stop Latin music, the best international food, and Montreal's unbeatable vibes. Tickets on sale now at festivalfuegofuego.com.
There's nothing like hockey night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
4 minutes to go in the second period. 2-0 Washington. This elimination game 5 tonight. The Canadiens will need to win 3 in a row to prolong their season and force their season on into round number 2. It's been a tough night, JP, for the first line a little bit here. 5-on-5. They haven't quite dominated the same way we've seen earlier in the series.
No, I do agree with you, Victor. I think that Slafkovsky and Suzuki in particular maybe look a little bit tired this evening, and it is understandable. They've done a lot of heavy lifting this year. You still want to see them be able to perform in Game 5, and there's still plenty of game left, but just don't look as dynamic as we've seen them.
Canadiens win the D-zone face-off. Can't get the puck out, though. There's Ovechkin near side boards. Under pressure from Mike Matheson. Puck rolls down low for Dylan Strome. Back into the corner. Newhook works it all the way to the far side for Demidov. He'll steer it back in behind the Montreal net. Up it comes Newhook for Carrier to center. That's deflected in by Jake Evans, or maybe not. They're going to call this for an icing. I thought Jake Evans got a piece of that, and clearly so did he.
Yeah, no doubt about that as that puck gets fed up. It's a nice play off the wall from Newhook. Takes it to his backhand. Goes cross to Carrier, who was stepping up and who tries to stretch the ice up to Evans. It just skips over his stick.
.332 left in the second period.
And Jake Evans will step in to take this against Lars Zeller. Evans has had a solid night in the faceoff circle so far. Make that 7 for 10.
And this is taken, though, by Washington, side of the net. Delayed penalty. Matt Roy throws one wide of the net. Logan Thompson going back to the bench for the extra attacker. Habs touch it down low, and it's going to be a late second period power play here for Washington, who are 1 for 2 on the night.
And it's going to go against Jake Evans, who wins the faceoff, and then unfortunately just doesn't get any help. That's Mangiapane, who makes a solid play on Carrier, strips the puck from him, then turns it right back up ice, takes it in towards Dobesh, and Evans has to bail him out, just gets his hand across, and that's going to be a holding call as Evans heads off to the box.
Canadiens penalty kill presented by Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the game, control the temperature in any room at any time. Caps 1 for 2 tonight, 2 for 12 in the series. Wilson, Carlson, Chychrun, Ovechkin, and Strome all on the ice. Suzuki, Armia, Matheson, Savard. Penalty kill for Montreal, of course. Evans in the box, so Suzuki gets some time here with Armia. As Dylan Strome gets waved out of the faceoff circle. Tom Wilson in to take it versus Suzuki. Scrum for it off the draw. Puck rolling down low. It's corralled by Washington. Played around the boards for Alexander Ovechkin. Right side corner, Dylan Strome. Works it out in front. There's a shot, goes wide of the net. Carlson tries to tuck it home with the wraparound, loose in front. They score. Tom Wilson off the scramble in front. Power play goal has made it 3-0 Washington.
Well, it starts off with a play to the back door to Carlson, and then it's just a net front scramble, and nobody picks up Tom Wilson. Wilson gets his stick on it. Dobesh is down and out, and the puck is behind him. Capitals hadn't scored a power play goal since game 1 of this series and now have their second.
It looks like that was a stick save made by Dobesh on Carlson, JP, that knocked the stick out of his hands. Of course, he never got it back for the Wilson shot that beat him stick side.
Yeah, he's scrambling. I don't think that even a stick in his hand would have helped him on that play.
Second power play goal of the night for Washington. 2 for 3. Oof, that one hurts.
Yeah, that one really does, especially at the time now. Still just under 3 minutes to go here in the second period.
This is a quick icing for Washington. I feel like in a lot of ways right now, JP, the Habs need a quick strike to finish out this period to give themselves a chance in the third.
The Canadiens would have needed the power play to go their way. That's what they would have needed right now, is to get away from the 5-on-5. That's where Washington wants to play you all night. If they can keep you at 5-on-5, they scored bags of goals this season. They scored 190, good for number 2 overall in the NHL this season at 5-on-5. But suddenly their power play has come alive.
Caps 2 for 3 tonight. Montreal 0 for 2. Ozone face-off for Montreal. It goes all the way back out to center. Gooley can't handle it as it's poked down low into the Montreal zone. Duhaime along the boards, tied up with Gooley. Taken away by Montreal. Up to center they go. Stripped away by Sandin. Played back to the neutral zone. It's officially Wilson from Carlson and Strome. As here go the Capitals. Protest along the near side. Can't field the pass. He steers it back to the blue line though for Matt Roy. Right back down low behind the Montreal net. Duhaime battles for it. Goes into the corner. As they all pile in. Breaking free is Christian Dvorak. Up to center. Chychrun gets knocked off the puck. It's backhanded into the Washington zone. And Chychrun on it again, now stretches down the ice. Here's Tom Wilson right side. Rides that around the boards. In behind the net it comes. Centering attempt. Goes over to John Carlson. Back on the near side, Connor McMichael. Lost it. Goes out to center. Turns around and then fires it back in. Now far side, Wilson off the forecheck. It was Dubois who almost got loose in front of the net, but instead Montreal get it to center ice. Here goes Nick Suzuki back the other way, up the middle. Quick wrister is caught by Logan Thompson.
No real threat of that play as Suzuki gets it. And he gets enough on it, but Thompson can see it coming in the whole way. Suzuki cuts across the high slot. It's a quick wrister and the flash of the leather by Logan Thompson with his right hand, and this whistle comes, and this face-off will come off to Logan Thompson's right side.
Shots 20-15 in favor of Washington in the second period alone. Shots 9-5 for the Capitals. Habs looking for a response here after that power play goal that's put them down 3-0. Face-off, far side on Thompson. One back by Washington. Comes around to the near side where it's lofted out to center over the head of Anthony Beauvillier. Still loose in the neutral zone, picked up by Nick Dowd. Far side wing, Nick Dowd in on David Savard. Turns around, passing off Beauvillier into the corner. Passes back to the blue line. Long shot, blocked in front by David Savard. Rolled all the way back down the ice. John Carlson moves it over to the far wing. Capitals chip it ahead to center. Here goes Beauvillier, a little backhander. Wide of Jakub Dobesh. This is chopped at by Gooley. Arbor Jacki now steps out to center ice. Deflected in with 30 seconds left in the second stanza. Here's Alexander Ovechkin off the boards. Swept over by Gooley. Bouncing around at the Caps blue line. Armia spins it over to Caulfield. Left side, back toward the blue line, settled down by Lane Hudson. Hudson at the point, can't get the shot through Ovechkin. He hurries back in time to pick it up. Just 5 seconds left on the clock here. Hudson at center. will run out of time. And the Washington Capitals, through 40 minutes, have a 3-0 lead.
Well, Caps really hit their stride in the second period, and Canadiens are going to be in tough here in the third. They're just going to have to go in, hear what Marty St. Louis has to say, but they'll have to dig deep with their season on the line now.
20 minutes, maybe more, for a miracle. The Montreal Canadiens looking to turn this series around with a Game 5 win tonight. But another big goal on the power play from Washington, from Tom Wilson, assisted by John Carlson and Dylan Strome, has put the Montreal Canadiens in a big hole here, down 3 through 40 tonight. Mitch Gallo and myself, Victor Finley, will have the second intermission roundtable when we return to Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
The Morning Show with Connor McKenna and Sean Starr. It has everything you need, from Starr's eternal optimism to McKenna's unbridled honesty. Don't miss the 3-star quiz at 7:30 and the very best hockey insiders, including RDS's Mark Denis.
And then he wasn't being shy. He was shooting the puck. And by shooting the puck, sometimes he actually helped out.
Wake up with a Morning Show with McKenna and Starr. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on TSN 690.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
We all have the same goal, to be environmentally responsible. That's why Rio Tinto and the Montreal Canadiens are teaming up. We're replacing 1.5 million single-use plastic cups at the Bell Center with cups made with infinitely recyclable aluminum from Quebec. And the low-carbon aluminum we use for the cups is made by Rio Tinto right here in Quebec. It's a sustainability slapshot. To learn more, go to riotinto.com.
$1 wings, $1 wings, $1 wings. Boston Pizza has the ultimate lineup. During every Montreal game this season, our wings are only $1 each at Boston Pizza. Come in for some delicious wings, an ice-cold Molson, and a great game. Now that's a winning trio. Visit bostonpizza.com to find a Boston Pizza near you and reserve your table. Boston Pizza is the place to be. See details in restaurant.
Are you looking for an insurance broker, passionate and professional? With 65 years of experience, SO Insurance has proven to be totally dedicated to serving its clients. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, their brokers have one priority: to find you the best offer available to insure your home, car, and all other types of motorized vehicles. Call 833-370-2704 or visit SOR.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SO Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
It might not look like it, but spring is on its way. Time to step it up with Point S. As the Habs coach would say, changing your tires is like being in love. You gotta do it right. And guess what? At Point S, we take great care of your tires. Until May 18th, take advantage of our Pirelli promotion and get up to $100 in mail-in rebates when you buy 4 selected Pirelli tires. Stop by in-store or visit point-s.ca to claim your deal. Drive stress-free with Point S, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fibre, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on your home of the Habs, TSN 690.
To center by the Caps. Ovechkin wristing it in. Comes around the boards for Anderson. That slides loose in front. Dobich again bails out Montreal with a couple saves. Cannot get it out. Lane Hudson tried to throw it in front. That's intercepted. Capitals up to center ice. Dubois into the right side, passes over. McMichael up the middle, dangerous look, and another strong save for Dobish. Scrum for it off the draw. Puck rolling down low. It's corralled by Washington. Played around the boards for Alexander Ovechkin. Right side corner, Dylan Strome. Works it out in front. There's a shot, goes wide of the net. Carlson tries to tuck it home with the wraparound, loose in front. They score. Tom Wilson off the scramble in front. Power play goal has made it 3-0 Washington.
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. I'm Mitch Gallo with Lucas Scott. After 2 periods of play, the Washington Capitals lead the Montreal Canadiens 3-0. Your second period scoring summary, 16:59. Tom Wilson, his second on the power play from John Carlson and Dylan Strome. It is time for the second intermission roundtable, and we have our play-by-play man, Victor Finley, with us. Victor,
Mitch.
hard to paint any other picture. Things are looking pretty dire right now.
I was just talking with JP. With the 90 games prior to this, and this being game number 91, I've called, give or take, approximately 275 periods of Montreal Canadiens hockey this year, and I think this has probably been, well, there were a couple early in the season that were just right off third periods. I'm not writing them off in this game yet, but man, like the late goal from Tom Wilson wasn't much of a pushback for Montreal to finish that second period at all. It really does feel like this is the least wind that the Habs have had in their sails going into a third period in quite some time now. So we'll see. I cannot write this team off completely given the journey that they've been on in the last couple seasons, but they're going to have some guys here that have not had a great night really step up and be spectacular in this third period.
Yeah, it just feels, Montreal aside, Washington in control, and they have experience, and they're in the driver's seat. With everything Montreal has been able to do this season, at times when you would count them out of it, we can't. But Washington just seems like they're in such control of everything happening.
Yeah, it has not been a brilliant game from Montreal either, and I think there's a couple guys that needed to be key tonight that for whatever reason just don't have it, and maybe it's just at the point now where some of these guys have been pulling so much weight for so long. Now it's maybe caught up to them a little bit, right? Maybe there just isn't enough magic left in some of these guys, and I'm not going to single out one guy here and say that it's all his fault, but this is a night where Nick Suzuki hasn't been the best player on his line. I would argue that for sure Caulfield's been the best player on that first line tonight. I think you can make the argument that Slavkovsky's been the second best player on that line this evening, and I think as Luca brought up with me in the pregame show, well, who needs to be great, who needs to be good for Montreal to not just win tonight but to come back in the series. Like I said, there's multiple guys, but one of those non-negotiables is your number one center with Nick Suzuki. But again, he's one of those guys where the Habs are not remotely close to a playoff spot without him. So he has done so much heavy lifting for this team all year long. Maybe we're just at the point where, and maybe it is just kind of a one-off. You don't have it tonight. Can't really afford that, right, in an elimination game. But look, if he doesn't have a strong game tonight, doesn't have a strong third period for Montreal, it certainly doesn't write off all the incredible work he's done as the captain to get Montreal to this position in the first place. Just feels like to me there's a bunch of guys who are key for this team that just haven't had their fastball tonight.
A little bit of a soft penalty, too, as far as, what's been called and what hasn't.
On Evans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it leads to the Wilson goal, which is kind of lights out. Like, Victor, it's a playoff game. I don't want to see that call.
Yeah. I'm just trying to replay that one in my head. I think, what was the call? Was it hooking?
Well, holding.
That was holding. Yeah.
Yeah, he got his hand off the stick. Like regular season, it's probably a penalty.
Yeah.
But man, Canadians are down 2-0. You really have to bury them at that point if you're the refs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's managing the game. I don't think you have to make that call.
Yeah. Yeah, but like at the end of the day too, it's a little bit of bad luck too, right? For Montreal with the shot rattling the stick of Jakub Dobish right out of his hands, and ultimately the shot from Wilson beats him blocker side, right? And maybe he makes that save if he's got a stick in his right hand as well.
That,
so it's not one thing for Montreal. It kind of feels like there's, even the way they started, right? The second shot of the game for Washington just happens to be a rocket from Ovechkin on a faceoff where Dvorak's stick snaps in two. Like, well, what is he? He can't win the faceoff with a broken stick like that. So for all the great bounces Montreal have needed and have got throughout this season to get them in a playoff spot and get them to this position, it just doesn't feel like they're getting those tonight either, which is obviously not helping.
Go ahead, Luca.
Vic, if the Canadiens do turn things around and somehow a miracle happens, what would need to go right for them in this period coming up?
Well, I think they're going to need Washington to lay an egg. That's going to be the first thing. I think we've seen already in this series, Montreal can play their best hockey, and if Logan Thompson's going to be up to the task, which it looks like he has been here through 40 minutes, 15 for 15, it's going to be a very, very, very difficult ask, maybe impossible to get 3 by him in 20 minutes if he's on top of his game. So Montreal need to play their best, and they need some help too. Just like they needed help from out of town to get themselves into the playoffs this year, which they got, they're going to need Washington to play a not good third period. And I think back to the first and all the weak, soft plays the Capitals were making in their own zone with the puck, very irresponsible. They've obviously cleaned that up throughout the game, but that's Montreal are going to need Washington to go back to that style of play, the way they played the first 10 minutes of the first period, to have a chance tonight. And I would be quite surprised if Washington reverted to that, the way that they started tonight. But honestly, if they do, Washington don't deserve to win this game. If you play the way they did to start, you get it back together, you're up 3-0, then you go back to the way you started tonight, making weak, soft plays with the puck, that's not a recipe for winning. But that Montreal need help here beyond what they're capable of doing to win this game.
Thanks, Victor.
Thanks, Mitch.
There's Victor Finley. He'll be back with the third period of play, perhaps the final period of the Montreal Canadiens season. Or maybe they have one last gasp. It is Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. Canadiens trail Washington by a score of 3-0. Coming up next, we'll get you caught up with the out-of-town scoreboard on TSN 690.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite pho shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Export. Ultra. XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
When you choose the STM to get to an event, you aren't just riding public transit. You're riding a wave of collective energy with fans just like you all the way to the big event. Heading to the Bell Center? No need to put your whole day on ice. With public transit, you won't have to worry about traffic or parking. A trip to Lucien Lallier or Bonaventure Station gets you right to the heart of the action. Now that's what we call putting it on the tape. With the STM, birds of a feather ride together.
Spring means it's time for a change at Point S. And as the Habs coach would say, it's never too late to upgrade your software, or in this case, your tires. And this is a good thing because until May 18th, Point S offers you up to $100 in mail-in rebates when you buy 4 selected Pirelli tires. Just visit your Point S garage or go to point-s.ca to claim your offer. Drive stress-free with Point S, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Here's Kucherov. Trying to shake Barkov.
Tap back to the line. Moved across to Gensel. Gensel with a shot. Scores! Jake Gensel! Power play goal, and we are tied again.
Look at that. Back and forth go the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning. 6 minutes left in the second period. It's 3-3. It's time for your out-of-town scoreboard. Gonsalves scored to open things up for Tampa Bay from Glendening and Victor Hedman. 5:21. Carter Verhaeghe scores his second power play goal from Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Reinhart. Brad Marchand sets up Anton Lindell to make it 2-1 Tampa. Nick Paul made it 2-2 from Connor Geekie. Sasha Barkov at 52 seconds of the second period from Gustav Forsling and Istu Luostarinen. And then the goal you just heard, Jake Gensel on the power play from Victor Hedman. Coming up next, the third period. Montreal trails Washington 3-0. Victor Finley and JP O'Connor with the call.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Are you looking for a damage insurance broker that specializes in commercial insurance? There is only one name, SR Insurance. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, SR Insurance brokers are the perfect advisors for you. With more than 65 years experience, SR Insurance is proud of its team of brokers who stand out for their ability to select the best products for your business. Call 833-370-2704 or visit sr.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Better keep your team jersey and rally towel close by and help bring the cup home. And for all your other treasures, store them safely with the Podium Mini Entrepot. Store Canadian, True North Strong, and 4 weeks free. Details at depodium.com.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back to Habs Hockey on TSN 690 for game number 5 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. 3-1 series lead for the Capitals, 3-0 lead in the game for Washington. Victor Finley here on the call alongside JP O'Connor. Well, is this the end, or will there be a tomorrow for Montreal? We don't have to wait much longer, JP, to find out, but the Canadiens are going to need to pull off perhaps their most impressive comeback of the season to erase this 3-0 deficit to prolong their season.
Victor, they will indeed, and every shift is going to count. They're you just can't afford to let a 3-goal lead get into the final moments and expect to be able to get back into it. But when you take a look at the Capitals, you got to remember that the Capitals haven't won a playoff series since they won the Cup in 2018. They've had 5 straight first-round losses in 1 year that they didn't make the playoffs. So the pressure obviously is on the Canadiens, but closing teams out is not an easy thing to do, and Spencer Carberry will have made that abundantly clear to his team after the second period.
Canadiens could use some help here in this third period. They tied for the league lead and third period comebacks this year with 10 of them, but all of those third period comebacks were 1 goal. They have never come back from down multiple goals in the third to win this season. As we begin from center ice as the Canadiens send it into Capitals territory. Here's Gallagher on the ice to start with Anderson and Dvorak. Matt Roy steals it away, low in the Washington zone. Duhaime up to center, taken away by Carrier. Off on the far side wing, Carrier steps it over the blue line. He's called for offside.
And that messaging that Carberry will have delivered to his players is very simple, and you try to keep it as positive as possible. But the only negative that you look at there is guys, don't do it to ourselves. Don't put ourselves in the position where we give easy ones to the Canadiens to allow themselves to get back into this period. So I think you're going to see a healthy diet of pucks getting dumped deep on the Canadiens, and always with Washington Capitals players behind the puck there, so they're always in a strong defensive stance.
Here's Dovish behind his own net. He'll rattle this around to the far side, held in by Washington as Dylan Strome sends it off a body. That goes out of play. Dylan Strome with 2 points tonight, now has 9 in the series. Only 2 other Capitals have had 10 points in a single playoff series for the team. Unsurprisingly, it's Alexander Ovechkin and Nicholas Backstrom.
Yeah, exactly, with the history that they've had. And coming into the game this evening, that first line with Beauvillier alongside Strome and Ovechkin, they had 16 points coming in. So the production has certainly been there from their top guns.
Face-off win for Montreal. This is angled off the boards to center by Hudson. Taken into the Washington zone by Newhook. Down the near side boards. Capitals push it back to center. Beauvillier stripped of the puck. Far side, Newhook can't cross over the line. It's Suzuki right now with Demidov and Newhook. As here's Alexander Ovechkin. Hard shot off the far side. 96.5 miles an hour on that slap shot. Blocker saved by Dovish as it goes back for Washington. It's swept through center ice by Tom Wilson. Picked up by Montreal. Carrier lays it through center ice. Picked up by Chychrun. He'll turn in behind his own net. Fending off Slavkovsky. Back up to center. Here go the Capitals. McMichael crosses it over the line offside. Wilson was just ahead of the play as he goes to the end boards with Arbor Jackeye.
Jackeye was looking to see if he could get Wilson going, but that's what Tom Wilson does best, right? He understands how to step across the line when he needs to, but right now there's no chance that he's going to take any penalties being up 3-0 in a closeout game. Frustrated that he didn't get the call on that offside, but there's no way that Arbor Jackeye is going to sucker him into anything here in the third.
Now, Wilson wanted nothing to do with Jackeye. He wanted to be more of a piece of the ref than he did Arbor Jackeye after that exchange. 18:24, just underway in the third period. 3-0 Washington. They win this neutral zone faceoff. Chychrun lobs it into the Canadian zone. Carrier swings it around the boards. Picked up by Jake Evans. On the ice with Caulfield and Slavkovsky now as it's angled into the Washington zone. Capitals with it. Trying to carry up the far side. This is flipped to center ice. Bouncing around. Connor McMichael into the Montreal zone. McMichael darts in behind the net. Skates around into the slot. Pass off the boards. Back to the blue line. Van Riemsdyk. His try is blocked in front. Back along the near side boards. Puck rolls to Jake Evans. Passing off. Almost too many men for the Canadiens. As Caulfield crosses in over the Washington blue line. His shot is rejected. And now back to the Montreal zone it goes. David Savard. Far side, ripped in by Yoel Armia. Comes around for Alex Alexiev. Taken away by Armia, and he scores! Sharp angle off the right side. Yoel Armia fools Logan Thompson's glove hand. And Montreal get an early strike in the third.
It's a little bit of life, and it's Kapanen along the wall. He's going to get an assist out of this, but strips the puck along the wall. Armia gets it, just collects it, and goes hard to the net with it. And it looks to me like it does take a bit of an unfortunate bounce, but it bounces the Canadiens' way. They don't care how it goes in. It looks to me like it might be Heineman who gets this one.
Heineman with the stick in front. The redirection on Logan Thompson breaks a lengthy goal drought for Heineman. And it's got the Canadiens to within 2. So Armia the shot, Heineman the goal. And here go The Capitals back up the middle. Andrew Mangiapane trying to go top corner again. This time Dobish with the glove save.
Boy, we've seen that play before, haven't we, with Mangiapane as he collects the puck, skates across that blue line, and we saw him with the game-winning goal in Game 4 as he collected the puck and tried to go into the exact same spot that we just saw him fire that puck. Dobish was ready for this one.
So that'll be the first Stanley Cup playoff goal for Emil Heineman.
Well, he had the post earlier, and I've been singing his praises, talking about how well he delivers the puck, but didn't have to do much on that one. Just gets his stick in the way, and he'll take it any way he can get it.
Capitals offensive zone faceoff win. Sandin plays it down low. Matheson's there for Montreal. Oliver Capita draws a secondary assist. That's his first playoff point. As here goes Gallagher down the right side. Low shot blocked by Sandin up the middle. Carrier sends that one just wide. Back to the far side. Capitals up to center ice. Duhaime off the boards and in. And now Carrier back along the end boards. Duhaime kicks it away. Alexei Protas now back to the point. Here's a shot from Matt Roy. That one sent wide off the glass. 16:28 to go in the third. Now a 3-1 lead for Washington. Chychrun goes back out to center. Turns it back for Roy. Quickly to the neutral zone again. Here go the Capitals through center with Chychrun. Lifting it in to the near corner. Right after it, Chychrun keeps it moving. Canadiens, chance to settle it down. Newhook does so, passing off. Lane Hudson charging up the ice. Up the middle, throws one wide of the net. Loose at the side. It's shot right off the glass, but not out. Here's Gooley. Over to Lane Hudson, far side with a shot. That's knocked down by Thompson. Play stays alive as the Capitals jump out to center. A little bit of spark now in this game after that Heineman goal. As Katie Gooley back in his own zone, works it up. Tip through for Nick Suzuki. In on the left side. Sends the puck down low. Sandin is there. Moved around, far side wing out to center. Here come the Caps. Tom Wilson can't cross the line onside. He's got to go back to center. Sandin plays it down the near side boards. Carrier steps in front of the puck. Ovechkin battles along the boards. Capitals win it. Here goes Dylan Strome. In on the near side. Strome up high at the line. Plays it around for Carlson, who keeps cycling to the far wing. Into the corner. McMichael falls down. Spills the puck out in front. It's picked up by Montreal. Here goes Evans down the far side. Evans off to Slavkovsky, right side. Drops it back. Shot from David Savard. Took a couple bounces on Thompson, who made the save. Back at the line. Jack-eye shot right on target. And no problem for Thompson here as he absorbs that with 14:41 to go in the third.
The Canadiens applying all kinds of pressure, but that's some solid defensive net front presence. That's Alexeyev in front of the net with Cole Caulfield, and he just keeps Caulfield out of the lane and lets Logan Thompson see that puck come in the whole way.
So it looks like for the time being, JP, Caulfield and Suzuki have been split up here.
Yeah, it does. That's a couple of shifts now that we've seen a little bit of juggling. And listen, Marty St. Louis and his staff, mentally they're going to have to be as exhausted at the end of this game as the players are physically after having played it. If it's going to be line changes, if it's going to be juggling, it's going to be timeouts.
Here's a shot from the line off the Habs face-off win, but it's corralled by Washington, quickly played out off the glass to center.
Now, whatever it is that St. Louis and his staff are going to have to do to help their players get back into this game.
Capitals on the attack. Taken away, though, by Gallagher. Played to center. Chychrun intercepts. Now lob back into the Montreal zone where Lane Hudson is back to retrieve it. Hudson up to center. Fires it down the right wing. Here goes Anderson. Deep to Capital territory. Stops behind the net. Anderson near side. To the line. Hudson across at the point. Gooley. Plays it round the boards, near side. Sandin takes a hit. Here's Dvorak out in front. Passes over, loose in the blue paint. And Thompson sprawls out to cover up.
Thompson had to get a good push out of his net just to cover that puck. Anderson was right there, but just a little bit too close to Thompson to be able to elevate in time. Brendan Gallagher net front, but the most dangerous play of all was Anderson. Thompson's able to cover, though.
Emil Heineman, first to the playoffs from Joel Armia and Oliver Kapanen, has made this interesting. 2-goal game with 13:51 to go in the third.
All rights to this broadcast are reserved, and any rebroadcast recording, retransmission, or other use of this broadcast with
Hey sports fans, it's TSI Mike. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's that time of the show. Please let us know where you're watching from in the chat. Where in the world are you hanging out with us at? Let us know your city and province, city and state if you're in the United States, city and country flag all over the world. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and letting us know and everyone know where you're watching. And also, you can check out that link that's pinned in the chat and in the description, our live viewers tab on our website, and go see where everybody's watching from.
Where in the world are you watching from? Now's the time to show for you to let us know where you're watching from in that chat or by visiting our new live viewers website. Holy Mackinac! As we are passing 100,000 insiders on Toronto Sports Insider, the playoff pulse is a global force. Visit TorontoSportsInsider.com to see our live viewer map and where fans are cheering from right across the globe. While you're there, check out our awesome new website and fresh merch options. Let's keep growing this global community.
St. Louis owes it to the team to try and find some kind of solutions, try and find a spark. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to see them later on in the period as the seconds start to tick away. We might see them back again together. But right now, if you're trying to get the guys out on the ice who are having the best looks, then sorry, if it hurts anybody's feelings, too bad. We've got a game to win.
Capitals in their own zone win the face-off. Try and clear it out. Suzuki back on the ice here with Demidov and Newhook. Centering attempt from Newhook doesn't get through. Picked up by Lars Eller. And he'll sky this one out through center ice. It's picked up by Washington. Quick shot from Mick Dowd. Goes wide of the net. Protas hit on the forecheck. Lane Hudson able to squirm away and gets up to center ice now as Nick Suzuki shoots it in the rest of the way. John Carlson, far side. Plays it up the wing, out the center, and Mike Matheson is back for it in the Montreal zone. He'll stop behind his own net. 7 minutes gone in the third period. 3-1 Washington. Errant pass at center is taken away by McMichael. Down the left side, wrister, low on Dobish, who makes the save and covers quickly.
A miscommunication there between Mike Matheson and Kapanen. Kapanen cut off the middle of the ice, and I think Matheson thought he was waiting for it. The lane was there, but Kapanen with his head up. Matheson with an errant pass turns it over in the neutral zone.
So on a night where Martin St. Louis is now juggling his lines, it'll be interesting to see how the ice time ends up shaking out here in this third period, JP.
Yeah, I agree with that. And listen, there's guys who are going to be gassed, but you know, you've got the usual suspects who are leading the charge on the back end, but it will be interesting to see how things shake out with the forwards.
Alex Carrier has played the most minutes of any Montreal Canadian so far, almost 20. As here goes Matheson down the far side, blocker save off a snapshot from Logan Thompson. Evans at center. Hoisted a backhand, that goes out of play with 12:31 remaining in the third period.
So we're talking about, you know, puck control, and we're talking about making smart decisions for Washington, and Logan Thompson makes that save, and then the puck just gets rifled out into the neutral zone. It's a clear turnover. There's got to be a little bit more decision-making coming in there with the Capitals. It's okay to turn a puck over, but it's got to be a little deeper, maybe back into the Canadian zone. At the very least, it allows your defenders to get up the ice, take away the blue line, and start cutting down some lanes.
Off the face-off, Capitals try and work it into the Montreal zone. Ryan Leonard took a hit, and he is having some trouble here, really in some anguish, as he goes back to the Washington bench. It's carried ahead to center by Lars Eller. Leonard stays out there as Alexiev carries in far side. In behind the Montreal net, comes around. Mangiapane throws one head high but wide of the net as the Capitals go back to their own zone here. Montreal shoot it in. Kapanen near side corner with Mangiapane. This is taken away by Leonard. Out to center, just plays it in deep. 11:45 to go in the third. 3-1 Washington. Here's Lane Hudson to center. Plays it in deep. Capitals quickly over to it. Far side, played out to center ice. Hudson quickly curls it around for Christian Dvorak. Right side, Josh Anderson throws one to the net. Blocker to side by Thompson. Back to the line. Hudson, far side, long range shot. That's kicked out. And then nudged to the boards by Thompson. Lane Hudson, right wing for Montreal. Out in front, bounces off of Dylan Strome. Now corralled by Anderson. Feeds it up high. Gooley off the boards. That missed Lane Hudson, and the Capitals push it down the ice.
Well, Gooley was feeling a little bit pressure there, and he fires a bullet past Hudson. That puck comes right off the boards, and Hudson still can't catch up to it.
Here goes Carrier playing off for Jake Evans through center into the Washington zone. Evans turns it back to the blue line. Carrier up top. Matheson, wrist shot. That got through. Stick save made by Thompson. Protas near wing.
The Canadiens are creating chances, but they have to get a little bit more traffic in front of Logan Thompson.
Deep in the Washington zone. Sandin under pressure. Plays it in behind his own net. Far side. Lifted out to the neutral zone. Caught by Protas. Passing off near side. Nick Dowd turns around. Slides it in behind the Montreal net. Protas. Big man on the puck. This is taken away from him by Evans. Passed over to Carrier. Set up back behind the Montreal net. Habs complete a line change. Suzuki onto the ice with Demidov. And Newhook. Canadiens to center. Here is Suzuki down the left side. Into the Washington zone. Newhook. Pressured along the boards. Taken away by Washington. Tom Wilson. Plays it rink wide through center ice. Now chipped in off the glass. Lane Hudson first to it. To Gooley. Back up to center. Connecting with Newhook. Over the line. Drops off. Nick Suzuki. Pass off the leg of Demidov. Up high. Good poke check by Pierre-Luc Dubois. Sends the puck out to center. 9:15 to go in the third. 3-1 Washington. As Lane Hudson passes off for Newhook. Down the near side. Rolls it off the backhand down low. Matt Roy into the corner. Back up the wing. Mangiapane throws it across for Ryan Leonard. Through center ice. Chychrun ahead of the play. Puts Washington in offside. And then Jackeye with a bit of a push on Leonard after the whistle. 8:57 to go in the third. Montreal within 2 in Game 5 on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All-electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
JP, you've often talked about in this series in regard to Montreal. Patience is being a key. It was for them again tonight, but Not much time for patience now. 8:57 to go in the third.
No question about that. And listen, there's times where you have to be patient. You have to look. You have to be opportunistic. But you're starting to run out of time right now, and the Canadiens' check engine light has officially come on. It's not quite flashing, but they know that it's getting real close to being the end. They're going to have to find a way here, and they've looked very dangerous. And the flip side of that is that the Caps have looked like they've been porous. They look like they're willing to give one up. Will they be able to hang on? Will the Canadiens be able to find one?
Power play for Montreal right now wouldn't hurt. We've had a couple chances at it earlier tonight. 0 for 2. Shots 10-2 in favor of the Canadiens in the third period. They've got one goal already, chipping away. It's a 3-1 game with 8:57 remaining. You need 2 to force overtime, then you need another one. So really, it's got to be 4 unanswered here in this third period and beyond to beat the Caps tonight as the Canadiens win the face-off from the neutral zone. Carrier plays it down the near side, chipped in by Dvorak. Anderson in hard on the forecheck with Matt Roy. Taken back by Carrier, across the line for Matheson. His shot goes off a body, and here go the Capitals, 2-on-1 to center. Ovechkin, far side with Strome. Ovechkin, there's Matheson on the back check, breaks it up. Weak shot from Ovechkin. Turns out to be not much of a threat as the Canadiens go back to center ice. Carrier shoots it in.
Yeah, Canadiens just can't afford to pass up shots like that as Mike Matheson has to find a lane to get that puck through to the net.
Capitals deep in their own zone. Pierre-Luc Dubois lugs it ahead to center ice down the left side. He's got Wilson with him, who carries in behind the net. Tom Wilson cycles around for Dubois. Far side wing now. Pierre-Luc Dubois shielding the puck from Lane Hudson. Dubois goes down. Lane Hudson banks it off the boards to center ice. Now Chychrun feeds it ahead. Dubois tied up with Caden Gooley. Loose on the far side wing. Wilson drops it back. Taken away by Hudson, and now the Canadiens out to center ice. Evans off of the far side for Slavkovsky. Back through for Evans. Out in front, looking for Caulfield, deflected just wide of the net. 7:30 to go. Canadiens 3 deep on the forecheck. Capitals around to center. They've got some space here. As here goes Dowd. Down the near side, weak backhander, easily caught by Dobish as Dowd drives the net and forces Dobish to hang on.
Now that is some kind of smart play by Dowd. There's an opportunity down in the Washington zone, and this is a pretty heads-up play by Evans as he finds some time, gets that puck past Chychrun, and finds Caulfield on the back door. That puck could have easily gone in. Dowd gets the puck, comes up the ice, and it's an easy little backhand in on Dobish, but the key is that he follows it up. He gets right in Dobesh's blue paint, forces that whistle, takes all of the temperature out of the game. That's a heads-up play by Dowd.
7:19 to go in the third. This will be a D-zone face-off for Montreal. Down 3-1. Suzuki in to take this against Nick Dowd, who wins it back for Washington. Sandin at the line, long-range shot with traffic in front, but it's absorbed by Dobish for the whistle.
Oh, that's a lot of people in front of the net. That's a lot of bodies there with Duhaime and Jackeye and Savard. You can imagine the panic that sets in as you're a goaltender as that puck gets floated in by Sandin. And your Dobish, you're just waiting to get it in. When it comes in fast, when it's a slap shot coming in, at least you can kind of time it. But when it's those wobblers coming in, it can be very awkward.
Habs win the D-zone faceoff. Carrier flips it to center. Far side, puck is loose. Dowd tosses it all the way back down the ice. That's going to be an icing.
Well, that's an unforced error, no question, by Washington. You see the great play by Dowd earlier, and instead, this puck gets fed in, and it just gets fired down the ice. Not expecting it to make it all the way down. Canadiens need to try and take advantage of this opportunity. Nick Suzuki in for this faceoff.
Dowd 6 for 17 on faceoffs tonight. Suzuki 10 for 16. Faceoff near side on Thompson. False start first time.
And this is where you need the help of your wingers. Nick Suzuki's been solid in the faceoff, but this is where you need the new hooks to come flying in to help you out if it's a scrambled draw.
Big win for Nick Suzuki. Right to Lane Hudson. Right side now. Demidov with a shot. Blocked by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Broken stick on the near side. It belongs to Nick Dowd. Here's Hudson. Trying to hold it in. It's escorted to center by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Now taken back by Hudson into his own zone. Gooley behind his own net. 3-1 Capitals. 6:35 to go in the third. Canadians, far side, carry it in. Gooley up the middle. Suzuki throws one down low. That was stopped by Thompson. Back across to the line. Lane Hudson, far side. Long-range shot doesn't hit the mark. Back to Hudson. Gooley, one-timer. That's stopped in front with the old Army posted right in front of Thompson. Capitals roll it back to center ice. Gooley, nice play to rip that away from an oncoming Anthony Beauvillier. As here goes the old Army down the right side, runs out of room. Capitals back to center.
You can see the Caps right now. They're officially in defense mode, and this has not been a great way for them to play in the past.
Carrier to center. Down the right side. Chips it in. Gallagher goes after it with Pierre-Luc Dubois. Off the glass, into the air from Trevor Van Riemsdyk and out to center. Matheson in the neutral zone, far side. Here come the Canadiens. Dvorak lost an edge. Van Riemsdyk plays it ahead, right to Carrier at center ice. Down the right side, Gallagher in offside with 5:18 to go in the third. One last gasp for the Montreal Canadiens. The season comes down to this when we come back to Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All-electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
We all have the same goal, to be environmentally responsible. That's why Rio Tinto and the Montreal Canadiens are teaming up. We're replacing 1.5 million single-use plastic cups at the Bell Center with cups made with infinitely recyclable aluminum from Quebec. And the low-carbon aluminum we use for the cups is made by Rio Tinto right here in Quebec. It's a sustainability slapshot. To learn more, go to riotinto.com.
Canadiens hockey is presented by Essor Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
5:18 to go in the third. Washington up 3-1 in the game and in the series. Montreal need a win tonight to force Game 6 on home ice Friday night. There's no question here, JP, the Canadiens and Martin St. Louis will be all in the final 5 minutes of regulation tonight.
Well, you still got the goalie to pull. You still got a timeout to use. Everything at Martin St. Louis' fingertips now will be put into play.
We play 5-on-5 for the time being. Evans on the ice with Caulfield and Slavkovsky, Gooley and Hudson, the blue liners. Wilson, McMichael, Dubois, Chychrun, and Carlson on the ice for Washington coming out of the TV timeout. Face-off in neutral territory. Evans versus Dubois. The Capitals win it. This is shot in from center by McMichael. Dobish out of the net to stop it. Hudson drops it around, give it away right to McMichael, but his pass is taken out to center. Capitals recover. Here goes McMichael up the middle now for Wilson. Back to McMichael. Fans on the shot. And Juraj Slavkovsky inches ahead to center ice, then shoots it in off the glass. Moved off the far side boards by Tom Wilson. This puck will not have enough to go for icing.
There's a strong side dump that we've been seeing by the Canadiens. Having some success with it.
Habs to center ice. Played it off the far side wall. Matt Roy moves it around. Near side it comes for Brandon Duhaime. Out to center. Capitals play it in again. Skips on Dobish to the far side now for Nick Dow. Play back down behind the net. Centering for Brandon Duhaime was Alexi Protas. Can't get the shot off. 4:15 to go in the third. Carrier to center ice. And on the far side, Newhook. Back to the blue line. Here's Nick Suzuki. Long-range shot might have hit the stick of Thompson.
It sure did.
As it carries around the boards to the far side. Protas into the corner. With Matt Roy taken away by Washington. Dylan Strome to the neutral zone. Crossing it over the Montreal line. Little skipper to Dobish. And once again, he's forced to hang on.
What's another heads-up play? It's the exact same play that we saw from Dow just a few moments ago. Strome collects that puck and he rags it through the neutral zone, follows it up, but most importantly there he forces Dobish to kind of get down onto all fours and deal with that puck.
3:48 to go. As we face off in the Montreal zone, it's Dvorak with Anderson and Armia, Gouli and Savard. As Dylan Strome and his top liner out there for Washington. Avs win the draw. Played around to the near side. Cut off by Strome. Down low. Picked up again by Savard. Tossed it out to center. Maybe trying to hit Josh Anderson up the middle for a breakaway, but it's broken up. Now Gouli deep in his own zone. Passing ahead. Avs having a hard time here getting out of their own zone. Into the near corner. Pierre-Luc Dubois killing off time. 1-on-3. Dubois up the boards. All the way back out to center. Washington will win the race for it. It's Trevor Van Riemsdyk behind his own net. Chased by Josh Anderson. Anderson lost an edge. Van Riemsdyk stretches down the far side. That's an offside as Wilson caught the pass, and that faceoff should come all the way back into the Montreal, or checked out the Washington zone rather, as Wilson and Jack-Eye exchange words.
Well, both of them right at the blue line, except Jack-Eye is on the bench. He just has a quick chirp at Tom Wilson. Just over 3 minutes to go now, and you got to think that St. Louis will be looking to pull Dobish. Give himself enough time. We've seen him do it before. We've seen him do it quickly. It looks like it's going to happen right now.
They got Dvorak, Hudson, Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Demidov, Caulfield, and Gallagher all on the ice right now. So Dobish on the bench with 3:03 to go. As Slavkovsky goes back to the bench for Montreal. So now they got their 6 skaters onto the ice. Demidov, Caulfield, Gallagher, Suzuki, Dvorak, and Hudson. Dvorak going to take the face-off. Far side on Thompson. Capitals win it back. Carlson off the boards. Can't get it out. Bouncing around in front. Chychrun guides it out to center. Protas in the neutral zone. Under pressure. Near side boards in front of the penalty box. Puck comes loose from center. There's a shot for Wilson. Deflects off a body and wide.
What a save with Hudson.
Canadians gather it behind the net. 2:38 to play. Down 3-1. Habs to center. Here goes Suzuki right side. Up the middle for Caulfield. Into the corner. Back to the line. Hudson. Demidov. Back and forth. Far side flank. Caulfield across. Demidov takes it off the boards. Back up top. Lane Hudson, far side, Caulfield. Now Hudson, long shot, bouncing around in front, side of the net, jamming away, still loose behind the net. Here's Suzuki, Demidov up top. Hudson works in with a shot that sails wide, glove hand side. Now taken by Caulfield. 2 minutes to go in the third. Habs need 2 goals. Suzuki, high in the slot. Over to Lane Hudson. Right side, Demidov. Back and forth with Suzuki. Demidov down low. Out in front, there's a shot from Suzuki. Fanned on it. Picked up by Demidov. Out in front, Suzuki, another try, and there's a big glove stop from Logan Thompson with 1:36 to go.
I'll tell you what, the Canadians have done a remarkable job as they get shots on net, but just keeping those pucks alive. And that last one is a sweet feed off of the wall by Demidov. Shows off his hand skills. And it's a little pass into the bumper area for Suzuki, who gets a terrific shot off, but right into Logan Thompson's glove. This is, I think, where you got to see the timeout coming.
I was just about to bring that up, JP. Dvorak has been on the ice for 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and Montreal will indeed take their timeout. Hudson for over a minute and a half, Suzuki for a minute and a half, and Demidov, Caulfield, and Gallagher all for 1:27.
You know, you heard Marty St. Louis talking about it the other day. I think he was asked a question by one of the reporters on the beat about pulling the goaltender as early as he did in game number 4, and saying that, you know, you never know when you're going to get an offensive zone faceoff. You've got the timeout left, and if you get the timeout at the right time, you're able to keep probably all the same guys on the ice. Well, here's exactly what's happening in this situation. You just rattled off all the times that the guys have been on the ice. Everybody getting a good glug of water, and for 1 minute and 36 seconds left here before the end of the Canadian season, they will try to find one past Logan Thompson.
So now Slavkovsky steps onto the ice in place of Christian Dvorak. So it's Hudson, Suzuki, Demidov, Caulfield, Gallagher, and Slavkovsky. Face off in the Washington zone. 1:36 to go in the game. 3-1 the lead for Washington. Chychrun, Wilson, Dowd, Protas, and John Carlson on the ice right now for Washington. Here we go. Martin St. Louis has used his last bullets. Pull the goalie. They called the timeout. It's all on Montreal's skaters now. They win the faceoff. Here's Lane Hudson at the blue line. Passing off to Suzuki. Right side. One-timer ripped wide of the net by Ivan Demidov. Capitals carry it around out to center. This will be picked up by Demidov. Just in time as the puck made its way to the goal crease.
A little bit casual.
Here goes Slavkovsky down the near side. Drops it back. Caps almost break it up. Bouncing around off the near side boards. It's caught by Slavkovsky. Now stuck in the corner. Out in front, Caulfield. Missed with the pass to the far side. 60 seconds to play. Caulfield down low. Here's Gallagher center. And that ricochets off a body. Taken by Nick Dowd. He'll play it up the far side wing. Wilson out to center. Cut off by Hudson. 45 seconds to go. Montreal crossed the line. Right side, Slavkovsky to the corner. Drops it off, Demidov up top. Hudson, far side. Caulfield, Hudson, one-time shot is blocked in front. Capitals to center, breakaway. Duhaime puts this one away for good. Empty netter makes it 4-1 with 25.6 seconds to play.
Oh, it's a hard flex out by the Washington Capitals, and as Lane Hudson delivers that puck to the slot area, it gets knocked down. And Brandon Duhaime is off and running as he skates onto that chipped puck out of Washington's zone, and he buries it for the dagger.
Well, you cannot say that the Montreal Canadiens went down without a fight this evening. 3-0 going to the third. Emil Heineman's first to the playoffs early. Made this interesting. The Habs with all the pressure throughout the majority of this period. But Brandon Duhaime has put this game and this series out of reach for Montreal. Final seconds, back in the Washington zone. One last shift for the Montreal Canadiens. This incredible roller coaster of a season has brought its twists and turns, its ups and downs, and the ride comes to an end tonight. Game 5 in Washington sees the Capitals win 4-1 and move on to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, JP, there will be no tomorrow for the Montreal Canadiens, but it is hard to not be optimistic about the future of this team. So many brilliant young players have stepped up to get the Habs to this point as they spill onto the ice one last time to pay their tribute as well to David Savard, who will not be moving forward with this team. He will not be moving forward with his career in the National Hockey League, as this is tonight his final game as an NHLer.
Well, there's so many levels to this game, obviously for the Canadiens, but for David Savard as well, as he recognizes that this was going to be the end, made the announcement before the playoffs started, and there would have been nothing better for David Savard to get one more game back at the Bell Center, but you can see the appreciation that his teammates have for him as they congregate around him with big hugs and congratulations for a career well done.
Capitals line up at center ice for the greatest tradition in hockey. It is Tom Wilson who leads the handshake line for Washington. Nick Suzuki for the Montreal Canadiens. We saw David Savard there with tears in his eyes, embraced one last time by his teammates on the ice at Capital One Arena. A Stanley Cup champion. He has reached the summit of the National Hockey League before with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Will not be able to do it again this year with the Montreal Canadiens. But an incredible career going back to his junior days, former CHL Defenseman of the Year, QMJHL champion with the Moncton Wildcats, 62 playoff games, over 7 runs with Columbus, Tampa Bay, and Montreal, in 870 games over 14 seasons, and a bunch of blocks over that time span as an NHL defenseman.
Yeah, a truly remarkable career for David Savard, and for a Tampa Bay Lightning team that was stacked throughout the season, they made it their point to go out and pull David Savard out of Columbus to get him into the lineup to fortify their back end as they went on that Stanley Cup run.
David Savard getting a lot of attention here from Washington skaters through this handshake line. Of course, a couple Quebecers on the Washington side, with Anthony Beauvillier and Pierre-Luc Dubois. There's Dubois.
Brandon Newhame as well, with a lot of family here in Quebec.
Ties to St. Bruno.
You got it.
And of course, the great 8, Alexander Ovechkin, makes his way through the handshake line. Once again, plays a factor in a playoff game against the Montreal Canadiens. 9 goals in 12 postseason matchups versus Montreal. He was on the wrong side of a 3-1 come-from-behind series win for the Canadiens back in 2010. History does not repeat itself this year for Ovi and the Caps. Ovechkin, the last player through the handshake line for Montreal. His head coach, Spencer Carberry, right behind him. Odds-on favorite to win the Jack Adams. JP, both you and I voted for him this year.
Yeah, indeed. Got my first place vote as Jack Adams winner, and he also gets his first NHL playoff series win in this victory over the Canadiens.
And now Martin St. Louis with a couple words for Spencer Carberry as they meet in the handshake line. It's a Washington coaching staff that also includes Kirk Muller, of course, one of the last ties, the only tie in this series, to the 1993 Stanley Cup winning Montreal Canadiens. As the Habs make their way off the ice one last time, the Capitals will salute their fans at Capital One Arena. It will be Washington and Carolina in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Hurricanes knocking out the New Jersey Devils one night ago in double overtime. Well, as is customary, before we finish off this show tonight, we'll take a look back at the play of the game, brought to you by Tim Hortons, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Now here goes Pierre-Luc Dubois, and on the near side, rifles one wide of the net. Back behind Jakub Dobeš. Dubois out in front for Chychrun, he scores! Jacob Chychrun in from the line. Catches the pass from Pierre-Luc Dubois and makes it 2-0 Washington. That was a big goal for the Washington Capitals tonight. Turns out to be the game winner. Ovechkin in the first, followed up by that Chychrun goal that you just heard. And Tom Wilson in the second. Emil Heineman with the response for Montreal, but then Brandon Duhaime puts this one out of reach tonight with the empty net goal. 3 stars this evening brought to you by Molson. 3rd star for the Washington Capitals with 2 assists on the night, Dylan Strome. 2nd star for the Montreal Canadiens with 24 saves on 27 shots, Jakub Dobeš, giving the Canadiens a chance to try and come back and win this game tonight. And the 1st star of the evening, perhaps the 1st star of the series for the Washington Capitals, Logan Thompson, once again airtight in net, 28 saves on 29 shots. Well, JP, partner, it's been a fun ride, hasn't it?
It's been some kind of year for the Canadiens, watching them, kind of the ups and downs, and looking at them going into the Four Nations, thinking that was probably going to be it for the season, and then all of a sudden getting on that rocket ship ride that sees us get into the first round of the playoffs. A lot of promising things coming up for the Canadiens. I'm sure that none of them would be interested in hearing that right now, would much rather be bringing this back to Montreal for Game 6, but nonetheless, a lot of exciting stuff coming up here in Montreal on the ice of the Bell Center.
Well, I think it's been a great season for a lot of people in this organization, and I'll say a great season for our broadcast as well. We've had a ton of fun with it, and we thank you as well, the listeners, for tuning in all season long from wherever you're listening from, whether that's La Belle Province, Montreal, in this city, this great, wonderful hockey city, or from coast to coast across our great country, perhaps abroad as well. Fans, of course, of the Montreal Canadiens from all over the world. We appreciate you for listening to Habs Hockey on TSN 690. That does it for our game coverage tonight of Game 5 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. 4-1 the final score this evening for Washington. And we've got lots of post-game coverage coming your way next for the final Delmar post-game show of the season. Here's your host, Mitch Gallo.
Thank you very much, Victor. Delmar post-game show coming up, and tonight we are here for you. Give us a call at 514-790-1690 and talk about how you feel about this season, or the season that was for the Montreal Canadiens, I guess I should say. Where was the game? Tonight's game lost? We'll kick that around as well, but really we want to take the big picture approach here on the Delmar post-game show. What do you think about the season the Montreal Canadiens had? Of course, we'll be chatting with our play-by-play team of Victor Finley and JP O'Connor. We'll get you the coaches' comments with Martin St. Louis, player reaction, and more. The Delmar post-game show is coming up next here on TSN 690.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee. Made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Looking to update your home decor? Start with MF Paints. For your kitchen, living room, bathroom, patio, you'll want to paint it all. MF Paints, 100% Canadian-made paints and stains, preferred by professionals and DIYers alike. Available throughout Quebec at your local retailer.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All-electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
CKGM. You're listening to the home of sports in Montreal. TSN 690, CKGM, an iHeart radio station.
Bell Pure Fiber is the technology you need for high-performance applications. It leverages light signals transmitted through optical fiber. It's capable of providing huge bandwidth, super low latency, and it's immune to electromagnetic interference.
Basically what he means is, it's incredibly fast internet. Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $70 per month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
At IGA, we help you save with our new Verified Prices promotion. Every week, check the front page of our flyer to discover our offers. Enjoy the lowest prices on selected products or automatically receive the difference in Scene Plus points. It's guaranteed. No proof required at checkout. IGA. Peace of mind is everything. For a limited time at participating stores. Details in the flyer and at IGA.net.
The Morning Show with Connor McKenna and Sean Starr. It has everything you need, from Starr's eternal optimism to McKenna's unbridled honesty. Don't miss the 3-star quiz at 7:30 and the very best hockey insiders, including TSN's Darren Dreger.
What is the next phase of this young man's career? Maybe it's right before our eyes.
Wake up with a Morning Show with McKenna and Starr. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on TSN 690. There are so many ways to listen to TSN 690. On your radio, 690 on the AM dial. Online at tsn690.ca. By downloading the iHeartRadio app. Always free. Or through our podcasts in on-demand audio. Whether you're at home, the gym, your car, or the office, take TSN 690 with you. The Postgame Show, brought to you by Delmar. End-to-end supply chain management for your business. On your home of the Habs. TSN 690.
Rather than hand the player off on either side and just kind of stay in their lanes, they definitely...
Comes from the face-off and they score! Ovechkin, one-timer, right off the draw. And it's 1-0 Washington. Now here goes Pierre-Luc Dubois. And on the near side, rifles one wide of the net. Now back behind Jakub Dobeš. Dubois. Out in front for Chychrun. He scores. Jacob Chychrun in from the line. Catches the pass from Pierre-Luc Dubois and makes it 2-0 Washington. This is settled down by Pierre-Luc Dubois. Throws it down low. Connor McMichael out in front. There's a big glove stop from Jakub Dobeš as he takes it away from Tom Wilson in front. To center by the Caps. Ovechkin wristing it in. Comes around the boards for Anderson. That slides loose in front. Dobeš again bails out Montreal with a couple saves. Scrum for it off the draw. Puck rolling down low. It's corralled by Washington. Played around the boards for Alexander Ovechkin. Right side corner, Dylan Strome. Works it out in front. There's a shot, goes wide of the net. Carlson tries to tuck it home. The wraparound loose in front. They score. Tom Wilson off the scramble in front. Power play goal has made it 3-0 Washington. As Caulfield crosses in over the Washington blue line, his shot is rejected. And now back to the Montreal zone it goes. David Savard. Far side, ripped in by Yoel Armia. Comes around for Alex Alexiev. Taken away by Armia, and he scores! Sharp angle off the right side. Yoel Armia fools Logan Thompson's glove hand. And Montreal get an early strike in the third. Picked up by Demidov. Out front is another try, and there's a big glove stop from Logan Thompson with 1:36 to go. Drops it off. Demidov up top. Hudson, far side. Caulfield, Hudson, one-time shot is blocked in front. Capitals to center. Breakaway. Duhaime puts this one away for good. Empty netter makes it 4-1 with 25.6 seconds to play. Final seconds. Back in the Washington zone. One last shift for the Montreal Canadiens. This incredible roller coaster of a season has brought its twists and turns, its ups and downs, and the ride comes to an end tonight. Game 5 in Washington sees the Capitals win 4-1 and move on to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs.